Chapter 1998. Speed. This werewolf had a speed that could make people despair. Therefore, it was also one of the sealed test subjects in the warehouse in Zone S, Test Number 3, Lightning. Lightning was originally the pet cat of one of the test subjects, but its owner had cruelly killed it. Then, its organs and genes were extracted and fused with its owner. Right now, Lightning couldn't tell if it was the owner or the pet. The two minds fused but didn't become one. The two thoughts clashed violently, causing it to lose control. The werewolf attacked Chen Zhao again. Chen Zhao dodged again and counterattacked the werewolf at the same time. The two went back and forth. Neither touched the water. Their speed was already so fast that it made people's hair stand on end. Ham and the others widened their eyes and stared at Chen Zhao in disbelief. Especially Ella Gonzalez. She didn't expect Chen Zhao to be so strong. She knew the werewolf's strength better than anyone else. The werewolf's extreme speed had already surpassed normal creatures. It was the only one among all the test subjects in the base. Even wild beasts couldn't match the werewolf's speed. Wild beasts had high attributes in all aspects, but their speed wasn't the strongest. The werewolf, on the other hand, was like lightning and could reach a shocking Mach 4. But now, there was actually someone who could fight with the werewolf in such a dazzling manner. It wasn't accurate to say it was dazzling, because the others couldn't even see their movements clearly. Only when the two of them paused for a split second would they appear for a brief moment. To be honest, even Chen Zhao found it unbelievable. The werewolf's stamina and fitness weren't very strong. Even if Chen Zhao stood still and the werewolf attacked him with full force, it would only be the werewolf that would be injured. But with such a fitness, it could actually produce such explosive speed. Chen Zhao was indeed shocked. This required extreme coordination of the body and extreme coordination of the joints. On a larger scale, humans' various functions couldn't reach the limits of living creatures, but humans were the species with the most potential on Earth. Most species on Earth were like this too. If a species reached the extreme in a certain ability, it meant that the distribution of energy in its body would be out of balance. As expected, the werewolf slowed down after a while. Felines had never been patient. The werewolf's stamina was dropping rapidly. However, when the werewolf realized that it could no longer maintain its super speed, it immediately slowed down and retreated to a safe distance. Chen Zhao and the werewolf fought for more than a minute. Neither of them touched the other. At this time, a large number of mutant rats suddenly fell from the ceiling of the cargo base. Chen Zhao immediately retreated. The mutant rats started attacking all living things in a frenzy. Chen Zhao realized that there was an extremely large rat on the ceiling. It should be the king of the mutated rats. Ella Gonzalez's expression turned even uglier. The appearance of the Rat King made the situation even more chaotic. The Rat King had an army of countless rats. Although the size of these mutated rats was too small, their numbers were enough to make one's hair stand on end. Mutated rats attack everything, even flesh and blood embryos. However, the flesh embryo was not to be trifled with. The mutated rats that attacked it were all swallowed by it. At this time, the Rat King also came down from the ceiling. It pounced on the flesh embryo and devoured it crazily. Taking advantage of the fact that their king was devouring the flesh embryo, the other mutated mice also began to crazily fight for food. At this moment, the Rat King's movement suddenly stopped. Then, it began to roll on the ground. Something in its body seemed to be about to break out. In fact, this was also a battle between two experimental bodies, the Rat King and the flesh embryo. One was digesting the flesh embryo, while the other was trying to assimilate the Rat King's body from within. Now, it was a matter of who killed the other first. While the Rat King was rolling on the ground, the other monsters were not idle either. The beasts went up and killed the Rat King directly. The werewolf abandoned Chen Zhao and rushed to the Rat King's body. She needed to replenish her energy. After the Rat King died, a part of its body was eaten by the other experimental bodies. The flesh embryo pounced to the rat king's body and assimilated it from within. Just then, the flesh embryo withered like a fungus, as if something was causing it to quickly die. Depler, who was still fighting, shuddered. He turned to look at the flesh embryo. Depler's expression was very complicated. Excited or happy? Or afraid? The flesh embryo wasn't dying. Its essence was being absorbed from within. The originally withered skin began to harden, like an irregularly shaped egg. Depler was excited because the results of his original designs and experiments were finally being realized at this moment. But the bigger problem was that there were no limits to the flesh and blood embryos. It could not be controlled. Attack it, destroy it, Ella Gonzalez shouted nervously. Don't let it hatch. Ham and the others also realized that the egg was nurturing some terrifying creature. They started to fire at the egg without any regard for energy consumption. Thud, 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 boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, a red figure charged out of the egg and pounced on a soldier. Ham immediately turned his gun to aim at the red figure, but before he could shoot, the red figure's tail had already swept him away. The red figure bit the soldier to death with one bite, then the neck. He died instantly. At this time, everyone finally saw the red figure clearly. It was a humanoid creature that was about 2.5 meters tall, and its entire body was red. Its body was covered in hard scales and a pair of horns grew from its head. Its face protruded outwards, especially its mouth. It was filled with sharp, thin teeth that were very sharp and hard. The length and structure of its limbs were very similar to humans, but humans definitely did not have sharp claws. The red creature's claws had a metallic luster and its eyes were dark red. This is my perfect creation, a truly perfect creation. I shall name you Perfect Scarlet. Depler stared at the red creature with glowing eyes. It was even more perfect than he'd expected. The streamlined yet extremely strong body, the perfect combination of strength and speed. He wanted to tell the world that this was his masterpiece. He could not wait to announce the creature's name, Perfect Scarlet. Chen Zhao tilted his head and looked at the Perfect Scarlet that had a new name. Was this a fucking demon? Chen Zhao suspected that Depler had added some demon-related cells or organs and then revived the demon. Chapter 1999. Perfect Scarlet slowly turned her head to look at Depler. I'm Lika Gatsbaria. Perfect Scarlet's silent gaze made one's hair stand on end. When did you get a name? Who gave it to you? I'm your creator. Only I have the right to give you a name. Lika Gatsbaria looked at Depler silently. Suddenly, the horns on Lika Gatsbaria's head shot out a beam of red light without any warning. Depler jumped in fright. The tentacles behind him immediately blocked in front of him. But the tentacles were instantly pierced through and the red light hit his chest. Depler's face was filled with shock. What kind of power was this? It was completely beyond his understanding. You're not dead. Lika Gatsbaria walked toward Depler. Depler realized that he couldn't move an inch. He could only watch as Lika Gatsbaria strolled toward him. I'll take your soul. Lika Gatsbaria reached out and grabbed Depler's face. Then he pulled forcefully and Depler's soul was pulled out. Depler's body had been modified. He was no longer human. But his soul was still in human form. Such an unclean soul. It's perfect as the source of my power. Lika Gatsbaria opened his mouth and swallowed Depler's soul. Having lost his soul, Depler's body collapsed onto the ground. Although his body's powerful recovery ability was still healing the hole in his chest, it was already an empty shell without a soul. Chen Zhao looked at Lika Gatsbaria. Baria? So he was also the king of Sloth's subordinate? Amon was also Baria's subordinate. They had the same bloodline. But their forms were so different. They were even two completely different species. At this moment, a claw appeared behind Lika Gatsbaria without any warning. Lika Gatsbaria reacted quickly and dodged immediately. The claw belonged to a cat person. Although Lika Gatsbaria had already dodged, his back was still scratched by the cat person. B****, how dare you offend the great Lika Gatsbaria? Lika Gatsbaria was furious. His cat-like body moved. His animal instincts told him that Rika Gatsbaria was dangerous. The horns on Rika Gatsbaria's head shot out another red shockwave. But this time, it wasn't directed. Instead, it spread in all directions in a circular arc. The werewolf was immediately hit by Rika Gatsbaria's red shockwave. Instantly, the cat-human felt as if her body had been filled with lead, and she couldn't move at all. Chen Zhao was also affected by the red shockwave. Instantly, he felt like he couldn't move. However, the feeling was very good and short-lived. It reminded him of when he fought against the Black Dragon in the Tower of Trials. Black Dragon had a similar move. Through the suppression of Dragon's might, he could temporarily immobilize Chen Zhao. Lika Gatsbaria's red shockwave was very similar to the Black Dragon's ability. But in terms of effectiveness, it wasn't as powerful as the Black Dragon. This was understandable. Lika Gatsbaria wasn't as powerful as the Black Dragon. Lika Gatsbaria had already grabbed the werecat's neck while she was frozen. Damned bastard, go to hell. The werecat, who had been fighting fiercely with Chen Zhao earlier, was instantly strangled to death by Lika Gatsbaria. The werecat's greatest strength was its speed. Once its speed was restricted, it would lose everything. Just as Lika Gatsbaria finished off the werecat, a huge force attacked him from behind. It was an attack from a beast. The beast's terrifying strength sent Lika Gatsbaria flying. Be it humans or experimentals, they all felt a great threat from Lika Gatsbaria. Therefore, at this time, they actually joined forces without any discussion. Ham and the others attacked Lika Gatsbaria, who had been sent flying. Bullets and bombs rained down on Lika Gatsbaria. Everyone and the experimentals sensed it. If they didn't kill Lika Gatsbaria, they would be the ones to die. But to Lika Gatsbaria, the power of the bullets and bombs was only a tickle. No, don't you have stronger weapons? Ella Gonzalez said anxiously. These weapons can't hurt this monster at all. Bang! As soon as Ella Gonzalez finished speaking, a red light pierced through her. Ella Gonzalez fell to the ground, vomiting blood in large mouthfuls. Lika Gatsbaria stood in the rain of bullets, his expression extremely arrogant. You should show enough respect when facing someone more powerful than you. Just then, the beast attacked again. Its heavy claws slapped at Lika Gatsbaria. Lika Gatsbaria also raised his arm to block the attack. But he was still not as strong as the beast. Under the beast's continuous attacks, he was forced to retreat. Lika Gatsbaria immediately changed his strategy and avoided fighting the beast head-on. Every time the beast attacked, Lika Gatsbaria would use a red shockwave. The beast was a real beast. It didn't know how to dodge at all. After being hit by the shockwave, the beast would pause for a few seconds. Then, Lika Gatsbaria would use these seconds to counterattack the beast. Soon, the beast, who had been at an advantage, became passive in the blink of an eye. It was covered in wounds. Chen Zhao realized that Lika Gatsbaria couldn't keep releasing the red shockwave. The others didn't notice, but Chen Zhao did. Every time, Lika Gatsbaria would release it for around a minute. Also, after each release, his attacks would be much weaker. Let's go. Let these monsters keep fighting. Ella Gonzalez didn't want to waste any more time here. She was seriously injured. Although her vitality was stronger than normal people's, she wasn't immortal. She needed to find a place to heal. This was definitely not a good place to do so. Ham and the others didn't want to keep fighting either. Right now, everyone's attention was on Lika Gatsbaria. This was a good chance for them to escape. Everyone boarded the freight elevator. Just as the doors were about to close, Fei Siki jumped in. Suddenly, the atmosphere in the elevator became tense again. I won't stop you, Fei Siki said. Don't stop me either. Everyone exchanged glances and reluctantly agreed to Fei Siki's request. Although Fei Siki was in monster form, he could still communicate with them. Now, no one wanted to fight. They just wanted to escape. Chapter 2000. But when the elevator rose less than 10 meters, there was a loud noise. Something seemed to fall from the elevator. Then, there was an intense feeling of weightlessness. Bang! The elevator landed heavily on the ground. Everyone felt their blood boil. Then, the metal door above the elevator was lifted open. That detestable face peeked in. But what welcomed him was Ham's bullets. Get out! Ham yelled. Holding a machine gun, he kept shooting at Lika Gatsbaria. Fisky kicked the elevator door open. The others escaped from the elevator one after another. Just then, there was a scream from behind. Ham had been disemboweled by Lika Gatsbaria. Boom! At the last moment, Ham had detonated the explosives on him. Qin Zhao watched Ham's ending silently. No matter how many grudges he had with Ham, he had to admit his final glory. He had truly accomplished his mission with a clear conscience. However, his last effort hadn't caused any damage to Lika Gatsbaria. Rika Gatsbaria strolled out of the raging flames. The freight elevator was their last hope. Now, the freight elevator had been destroyed too. Their last hope had been destroyed too. There wasn't much time left. 45 minutes had passed since Qin Zhao had activated the self-destruct device. In other words, they only had 15 minutes now. If they could pass through the even more chaotic research base, if they escaped from the main entrance, they might still have hope. But 15 minutes was far from enough. Moreover, Lika Gatsbaria clearly didn't plan on letting anyone leave alive. If they wanted to escape from the main entrance, the biggest obstacle they had to overcome was Lika Gatsbaria. He was an almost invincible monster. Not only did he have superhuman speed and strength, but he also had unimaginable abilities. Lika Gatsbaria seemed to be very satisfied with Ella Gonzalez and the others' fear of him. Then, he looked at Qin Zhao, who had been sitting on the metal bar. Qin Zhao hadn't hidden himself at all. However, his uninvolved attitude made Lika Gatsbaria even more dissatisfied. Suddenly, a beam of red light shot out from Lika Gatsbaria's horns. Qin Zhao rolled to the side, avoiding Lika Gatsbaria's red light. When the red light hit the bar, Qin Zhao could only fall to the ground. Bastard, kneel! Lika Gatsbaria's arrogance made Qin Zhao speechless. If Qin Zhao could contact Belial now, he would probably ask her if this guy was really her descendant. Ella Gonzalez's eyes flashed. Perhaps Qin Zhao could stall Lika Gatsbaria. In this way, she might have a chance to pass through the experimental area and escape from the main entrance. Although the chances were slim, Ella Gonzalez did not want to die. She wanted to live. No matter what, she didn't want to die. Lika Gatsbaria stared at Qin Zhao, who still had his hands in the pockets of his white coat. There was not a speck of dust on Qin Zhao's clothes, as if he hadn't fought at all. Are you so sure that you can defeat me? Qin Zhao took out an angelic crystal. He flicked it with his thumb and grasped the air. Although it was only a finger-sized angelic crystal, the holy aura it emitted still made Rika Gatsbaria feel threatened. I know you're afraid of this. Qin Zhao smiled at Rika Gatsbaria. When Rika Gatsbaria saw the angelic crystal, his expression changed involuntarily. However, it wasn't easy for him to retreat so easily. That thing can threaten me, but it's not enough. Qin Zhao crooked his finger. You can try. Rika Gatsbaria instantly released a red shockwave. It was another full-screen attack. Even Qin Zhao could not dodge it. Seizing the moment Qin Zhao was frozen, Rika Gatsbaria had already reached Qin Zhao. Qin Zhao raised his hand and grabbed Rika Gatsbaria's neck. However, Qin Zhao felt like he was grabbing a slippery eel. Rika Gatsbaria immediately broke free and retreated. Lika Gatsbaria turned pale with fright. How could this be? How could Qin Zhao still move? Was he stronger than him? But he was just a human. Rika Gatsbaria knew that his freezing spell wasn't perfect. The strength of the spell determined how long it could freeze the opponent. For example, when he'd fought Depler and Beast earlier, he could easily freeze them for a few seconds or even longer. Of course, if the target was too strong, the freezing time would be shortened too. In fact, if the target was a Demon King and he could hit it, the freezing time would probably be infinitely close to zero. Qin Zhao wiped the slippery liquid off his hand. You're really a eel. So slippery. Smiling, Qin Zhao looked at Rika Gatsbaria. You better be faster. Even if you freeze my body, it'll be meaningless if you can't be faster. Rika Gatsbaria's body tensed up. He looked at Qin Zhao warily. Who exactly are you? Everyone stared at Qin Zhao in shock. Qin Zhao had actually counterattacked Rika Gatsbaria. It was only a short exchange, but Qin Zhao did not fall into a passive position. I'm your great-grandmother's head. Do you believe me? How dare you? Rika Gatsbaria lost his mind and charged at Qin Zhao. Bang! Qin Zhao kicked Rika Gatsbaria right in the face. Lika Gatsbaria flew into the wall, and the wall was smashed into pieces. Everyone gasped. Qin Zhao had actually kicked Rika Gatsbaria away. Rika Gatsbaria patted off the dust on his body. Is that all you have? Rika Gatsbaria thought that was Qin Zhao's full strength. In his opinion, Qin Zhao definitely wanted to kill him quickly. It had been such a good opportunity. If Qin Zhao could do it, he definitely wouldn't give it up. So, Qin Zhao's strength had probably reached its limit. Qin Zhao was probably able to dispel his spell so quickly because he had some anti-magic item on him. Everyone couldn't help but become nervous. Could it be that Qin Zhao couldn't kill this monster? Just then, Rika Gatsbaria's horns suddenly lit up like two strangely shaped incandescent lamps. In the middle of the two horns, powerful mana fluctuations began to gather. Han Bao said. Chapter 2001. Just then, the magic above Lika Gatsbaria's head started to turn into energy. An energy ball that continuously released red light and arcs of light gathered. Lika Gatsbaria roared and increased the magic input. The red energy became the size of a basketball. This was his first time using this move in front of everyone. Everyone's expression changed drastically. They couldn't help but worry about Qin Zhao. Could Qin Zhao block this move? Die! Along with Lika Gatsbaria's furious roar, the ball of light shot at Qin Zhao. Qin Zhao raised his right arm. The mouth of gluttony. The ball of light instantly disappeared before Qin Zhao. His eyes widened, Lika Gatsbaria stared at Qin Zhao in shock. How can this be? The ball of light was broken down in the mouth of gluttony and then reformed. Qin Zhao kept his right arm raised. Directional attacks are useless against me. Whoosh, the mouth of gluttony reflected the reformed ball of light back at Lika Gatsbaria. Lika Gatsbaria tried his best to move his body, but the ball still brushed past his shoulder. His shoulder and a part of his chest evaporated instantly. The ball of light hit the wall behind him. Rumble, suddenly, the huge impact and tremors engulfed everyone present. Fortunately, the impact was directional. If it had spread out, everyone present would have been smashed to pieces in an instant. After the impact, everyone couldn't help but look up. There was a 2 to 3 meter wide hole in the wall with no end in sight. Then Lika Gatsbaria looked even more wretched than ever. Ella Gonzalez stared at Qin Zhao in disbelief. At the same time, she broke out in a cold sweat. Thankfully, she hadn't attacked Qin Zhao directly when she disguised herself as a tour guide. Otherwise, the consequences would have been severe. Lika Gatsbaria panted heavily. The missing part of his body kept squirming. He's recovering. Kill him, a soldier shouted. But Qin Zhao only glanced at the soldier casually. He ignored the soldier's request. Lika Gatsbaria used a minute to recover his body. However, he'd used up even more energy. Look, I didn't even use my trump card and you can't block it anymore. Qin Zhao held the angelic crystal. You think you've won? Of course I won, Qin Zhao said matter-of-factly. Isn't it obvious? You haven't won yet, Lika Gatsbaria said stubbornly. Really? Lika Gatsbaria started to breathe heavily. Qin Zhao raised an eyebrow. He was absorbing the spiritual qi. However, his method of absorption seemed to be self-harming. Could the spiritual energy of heaven and earth be absorbed into one's body? First of all, one needed to be close to the spiritual qi of heaven and earth and understand its nature. Or, Qin Zhao had filtered and infused pure spiritual qi into someone else's body. He also needed a strong body. For example, Qin Zhao had only given it to Kilo out of his children. After that, Kilo also showed signs of weakness and slight injuries. After that, Qin Zhao never did this again. Another example was Nawat Singh. She had mirror magic and could temporarily obtain Qin Zhao's abilities. After using it, she also had to lie in bed for more than half a month. On the other hand, Lika Gatsbaria's absorption method was more direct and violent. It was as if he was drinking lava. Everyone knew that lava contained a huge amount of energy. But could he drink lava directly? Drinking lava would kill him. Lika Gatsbaria's method was a suicidal jinn deification. Wah! Lika Gatsbaria suddenly vomited a mouthful of dirty blood. Ah! Lika Gatsbaria let out a wild roar. His body had already reached 3 meters. A suffocating pressure radiated from him. Everyone looked at Lika Gatsbaria in shock. They didn't know what aura was. However, they could truly feel the pressure and the power that made them feel despair. It was as if Lika Gatsbaria would crush them in an instant. Very powerful, but how long can you last like this? 3 minutes. I can definitely kill you in 3 minutes. You can try. There was a sharp sound in the air. It was as if something had torn the air apart. Lika Gatsbaria disappeared from the spot. The next moment, he appeared before Qin Zhao. It was a simple and direct punch. Boom! Qin Zhao was smashed into the wall. A large part of the wall collapsed. He couldn't win. No one believed that Qin Zhao could. That terrifying lethality, that unimaginable destructive power. And that speed that couldn't be captured by the naked eye. They were all enemies that humans couldn't defeat. Qin Zhao stood up from the collapsed soil. He looked at his disheveled appearance. I like this white coat, Qin Zhao complained, patting off the dust on his body. It reminds me of my past job. Just then, Lika Gatsbaria charged toward him again. Without saying anything else, he punched Qin Zhao again. Qin Zhao was sent flying again. This time, Lika Gatsbaria instantly shot out a red energy ball. The red energy ball caught up to Qin Zhao and caused him to explode in the air. Everyone stared at Lika Gatsbaria, dumbfounded. Too powerful, unbelievably powerful. Before Lika Gatsbaria, Qin Zhao couldn't fight back at all. Let's go while the monster's attention is on that person, Fisky said in a low voice. Don't even think about escaping. No one can escape. Today, everyone will die here. Lika Gatsbaria blocked everyone's path. Lika Gatsbaria's horns shot out an incomparably terrifying red beam, instantly shattering a soldier's body. Then, another one, and another one. Ella Gonzalez and the rest of them were pale with fear. You're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die too. Lika Gatsbaria roared crazily. Just then, Qin Zhao's voice came from behind Lika Gatsbaria. You don't have much time left. Are you sure you want to waste it on an unimportant guy? Leica Gatsberia's pupils constricted. He looked back at Qin Zhao in shock. You're not dead yet. Why do you think I'm dead? I'm only giving you 3 minutes to do whatever you want and see if you can kill me. Chapter 2002. Qin Zhao twisted his neck. Did he get hit on purpose just now? The remaining people all stared at Qin Zhao in disbelief. But was it possible? Qin Zhao wasn't human. He was a monster beyond human comprehension. If Leica Gatsberia had been beaten up on purpose, they could understand. But Qin Zhao said that he let Leica Gatsberia attack on purpose. They found it hard to believe. I don't need you to let me. Go die. Leica Gatsberia roared as he charged at Qin Zhao. This time, he didn't hold back anymore. He went all out. The unstoppable power blasted at Qin Zhao. But this time, Qin Zhao's face only tilted slightly. You don't need me to let you. Fine. Qin Zhao punched back. Finally, Leica Gatsberia was sent flying more than 10 meters away. Large amounts of rubble fell from above. After a brief daze, Leica Gatsberia charged at Qin Zhao again. Qin Zhao punched at Leica Gatsberia. Leica Gatsberia's arm twisted instantly and his body was sent flying again. This time, he smashed heavily into the wall above him. Large amounts of rubble fell down. At this moment, Leica Gatsberia sent another red energy ball down from above. This time, it was much more powerful than the previous ones. Qin Zhao used the same trick, the mouth of gluttony. The red energy ball was instantly absorbed. In less than a second, it was fed back to Leica Gatsberia. Boom! The energy blast hit Leica Gatsberia, who was dozens of meters away. But right now, Leica Gatsberia had a godlike state. Any damage could be instantly healed. As long as it wasn't a fatal blow, he could ignore it. Of course, he also knew that this was his final craziness. Leica Gatsberia fell vertically toward Qin Zhao. Boom! 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 Qin Zhao also moved. Both of them were so fast that they didn't have any friends. There was only the sound of the two colliding in the air. The survivors trembled in fear at the sound of the explosion. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't even protect themselves, let alone escape. Leica Gatsberia had already realized it. Qin Zhao was indeed stronger than him, even if he used forbidden power. He was still no match for Qin Zhao. That kind of overwhelming power made it impossible for him to resist. Right now, he could only barely remain undefeated. This was all thanks to the insane self-healing ability brought about by the 3 minutes of madness. He no longer had any scruples, and he even gave up on defense and evasion. Qin Zhao punched him, so he punched Qin Zhao back. But to him, Qin Zhao's punch was practically destructive. Every punch that landed on his body would cause his body parts to shatter. But it had no effect on Qin Zhao. Suddenly, a series of loud noises rang out in the air. The crowd did not see anyone either. The surrounding rock walls were constantly blown away and cracked. It was a battle they couldn't understand. It was a battle that they could never imagine even if they exhausted their imaginations. Suddenly, an incomparably dull bang sounded in the sky. Then, everyone saw a beam of red light fall. It smashed the ground into pieces. Leica Gatsberia was lying in a huge pit. Leica Gatsberia's body recovered quickly, and he struggled to stand up. But the next moment, Qin Zhao descended from the sky and stepped heavily on Leica Gatsberia's chest, forcing him to the ground again. Everyone felt like they were suffocating. They felt that Qin Zhao was incomparably tall. Ella Gonzalez's face was pale. Qin Zhao's victory wasn't good for her either. Just then, the huge explosion finally happened. The self-destruct device of the research base destroyed everything here. Qin Zhao ignored it. He only looked at Leica Gatsberia, who was under his foot. You lost, so goodbye. Chen Zhao looked at Laika Gatsbaria, who'd already passed the 3-minute time limit. By now, he was rapidly weakening and his body was also starting to wither. Chen Zhao still gave him the last blow. The survivors were still trying their best to find a chance of survival. They were dodging the continuous explosions. But Chen Zhao had no intention of saving them. The violent explosions had already affected the survivors. Shockwaves and flames rushed out from all the exits. Save me! Save me! Ella Gonzalez ran toward Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao only stared at Ella Gonzalez coldly. But before she could reach Chen Zhao, an explosion engulfed her from the side. Ella Gonzalez was sent flying by the impact. Almost half of her body was charred. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Chen Zhao still ignored Ella Gonzalez. He turned his gaze in another direction. Fei Si-chi was climbing up the wall of the elevator shaft. By now, he'd already climbed dozens of meters into the air. Without any other threats or obstacles, it wasn't impossible for him to climb up with his stamina. Fei Si-chi glanced in Chen Zhao's direction. He realized that Chen Zhao was also looking at him. But Fei Si-chi felt that Chen Zhao couldn't do anything to him now. Moreover, there were continuous explosions below. Chen Zhao definitely couldn't take care of himself. Fei Si-chi used a few minutes to finally climb out of the elevator shaft, which was hundreds of meters high. There were still explosions in the shaft. The shockwaves and flames almost filled the entire shaft. Fei Si felt that even Chen Zhao wouldn't be able to escape. Just as Fei Si-chi was feeling lucky, a gust of wind suddenly shot out of the shaft. The strong airflow even brought the flames below, which also shot out of the shaft. Because Fei Si was too close, he was hit by the flames directly. He rolled on the ground from the burn. When he looked again, Chen Zhao was already standing in front of him. Fei Si rolled a few more times in fear. He's still alive. He's actually still alive. Fei Si didn't think that he could defeat Chen Zhao. This man was almost impossible to kill. Whether it was a destructive explosion or a twisted monster. None of them could kill this man. Chen Zhao stood calmly before Fei Si-chi. Let me go, let me go. Didn't you let me out? I let you out to kill you, Chen Zhao said calmly. Because my mission is to kill you and all the twisted monsters. Also, I don't think I have a reason to let you go. Fei Si wasn't innocent. He was the previous owner of this research base. His crimes weren't any less than Depler's. Chapter 2003. Chen Zhao lifted Fisky and removed his limbs. Ignoring his pleas, he threw him back into the elevator shaft, which was filled with hot flames. The ground was collapsing. There were simply too many bombs in the underground base. Moreover, many bombs weren't installed on the main body of the building. Instead, they were installed in the soil or rock layers. The goal was to completely destroy the structure of the ground. There were also a dozen super bombs. The kind that injured Chen Zhao last time. If these super bombs exploded on the ground, they could flatten buildings within a kilometer radius and vaporize all living things within the range. Not even ashes would be left. If they exploded underground, they could completely destroy the structure of the rock layers. Chen Zhao took out his phone and called Demi. It's over, but none of your people survived. Demi was silent for a long time. You didn't save them. This is not a playground, it's a battlefield. The monsters here are stronger than I imagined. Even I was lucky enough to find the self-destruct device of Sala's laboratory, and it's the super bomb from last time. Otherwise, I'm afraid even I wouldn't have survived. Demi felt that it was a pity. It would be perfect if Chen Zhao died in there too. Thinking about it, Chen Zhao was really lucky. Last time on the artificial island under the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge, Chen Zhao had dodged it. This time, Chen Zhao dodged it again. To be honest, I'm curious. doesn't the military need research materials? After all, the monsters created by the people in this lab are quite powerful. Do you think the military doesn't have such research? Whatever. It's better not to tell me about military secrets. I don't want to be killed. When Qin Zhao returned to the hotel, it was already past 1 in the morning. Hey, Portia. Boss, if you don't have a valid reason, I'll sue you for workplace harassment. Book me a ticket back to LA tomorrow. The earlier, the better, Qin Zhao said. Also, if you want to sue me, you better ask my lawyer. You know him anyway. Portia was furious, but she couldn't do anything to Qin Zhao. She could only book a ticket for him obediently. Yawning, Qin Zhao dragged his luggage to the airport. He didn't know if Portia was taking revenge on him. The flight she booked for Qin Zhao was at 7:30 in the morning. As a result, Qin Zhao had to leave at 5 in the morning and rush to the airport. Of course, the reason given by Portia was also quite sufficient. This was the only flight with first-class seats. Qin Zhao entered the VIP lounge and started to make up for it. He also instructed the staff in the departure lounge to call him at 7 o'clock. Qin Zhao collapsed on the sofa and dozed off. After sleeping for who knew how long, someone patted his shoulder. Qin Zhao thought it was time, but when he opened his eyes, he saw that it was Zhang Yi. Mr. Qin, are you coming back too? Zhang Yi didn't expect to see him at the airport. Oh, it's you, Miss Zhang. Qin Zhao rubbed his eyes. I'm not going back. I'm going to Los Angeles. The city of angels. Is that the next stop of your trip? No, I live in Los Angeles. If you have time, you can come to Los Angeles. I'll be a good host. Tilting her head, Zhang Yi blurted out, banana people. Qin Zhao's face twitched. Miss Zhang, even if I'm really a pervert, you shouldn't call me that in front of me. It's about a person's manners. Zhang Yi was a straightforward person. She said whatever was on her mind. To put it nicely, she was honest, but to put it bluntly, she was one-track-minded. She didn't have any bad intentions. But it did make Qin Zhao uncomfortable. After all, no one in China liked that word. Okay, I apologize. It's not sincere, but I'll still accept it. Qin Zhao looked at Zhang Yi's clothes and then at the elite woman standing behind her. Also, this was the VIP lounge. Qin Zhao didn't believe that Zhang Yi could get in with her part-time job. Hi, I'm Qin Zhao. How should I address you? Qin Zhao reached out his hand to the elite woman behind Zhang Yi. Li Youjia. Li Youjia shook hands with Qin Zhao politely. Li Youjia had been observing Qin Zhao. Looks, height, clothes, and manners were all above average. This man's scores were all above average. Just then, the announcement for boarding the flight to Los Angeles sounded. Sorry, my flight has arrived. I'm boarding now. See you again if fate allows it. Sis, what do you think of him? Zhang Yi asked after Qin Zhao had left. Not bad. You have good taste, Li Youjia said. What does he do? I don't know the details. He said that he was a medical student and then started a small business. He probably has some money. From what he's wearing, it should be around $50,000. I don't see any brands on him. He doesn't even wear a watch. I don't know anything else, but his jacket has the Baroness logo on it. It's a top brand in America. Also, the jacket should be a custom-made model. It's at least $20,000 or $30,000. The 2 suitcases he's carrying are also the Baroness limited edition. I've never heard of the Baroness. Is it a big brand? You just need to know that when Hollywood stars attend various events, at least 30% of the gowns are from the Baroness. Because the Baroness market is mainly in the US, very few people overseas know about it. When I went to the US last year, I saw the Baroness Autumn show. One set of clothes is so expensive. He's probably a prodigal. Also, the 2 suitcases are limited edition. Does he have too much money and nowhere to spend it? Just because he rejected you, you're hating him because of your love, isn't that right? This isn't a TV show. I just don't like it. But that guy is indeed a good man. You should really consider him. He said that he already has a few kids. He's definitely lying. I don't see any ring on his ring finger. There's no sign of it either. Regardless, I won't do anything for a man who rejected me. I'm not that cheap. Are you ready to inherit the family business? If I say I'm not ready, will my dad let me go? No. That's why I plan to make him lose a lot of money. Then he'll know that I'm not cut out for it. Then, my brother can inherit the business. How old is your brother? Are you sure he can wait that long? I have to. I know I'm not cut out for it. If he really can't wait, he can just find a trust fund. Chapter 2004. When Qin Zhao arrived at LAX, it was only 9 in the morning. Today, it wasn't Fei Lai, Portia, or Refra who came to pick him up. It was Demi. Not long ago, the 2 of them were sworn enemies. Qin Zhao never thought that this woman would come to pick him up. Of course, it was more like a meeting than a meeting. Demi sat in Qin Zhao's car. Chen, I hope you can keep your promise. This is a check for $10 million. It's from my account. Don't worry. Qin Zhao handed the check to Demi. No, I hope you can transfer the money to the loan sharks. It's money my father owes to Saint and Finance Company. Is there a problem? Saint and Finance Company? I don't think you need to return the money. Why? Their company has already been dissolved. That's impossible. I've investigated their company. Their background is very complicated. Also, their boss's family has a lot of influence in politics and the underworld. I chased their boss away. He's probably hiding in some sewer now. You? Why did you do this to them? Do you have a grudge against them? Not really, but it's not pleasant. Then he wanted to kill me, so I fought back. I didn't kill him, but as long as I'm here, he won't dare to come back. Are you sure? I'm very sure, Qin Zhao said, nodding. Demi stared at Qin Zhao in shock. Qin Zhao's power seemed to be greater than she'd imagined. You can decide what to do with this check, Qin Zhao said. If you want to return the money for your father, then do it. I won't ask about other uses. Anyway, it's yours. Demi put the check away. Even she couldn't reject such a huge sum. Of course, if she accepted the check, it meant that she would no longer be able to clear her grudge with Qin Zhao. Tell me what happened this time. Do I have to tell you about the conflict with Ham? I heard that Ham and his men were found by the Mexican police 2 days ago. They were buried in the desert and exposed to the sun for half a day. Demi stared at Qin Zhao. Other than Qin Zhao, she couldn't think of anyone who would or could do something like this. In the end, the police only found him after receiving an anonymous call. I'm not interested in your grudges. I want to know what happened in Sarah's lab. The process wasn't too complicated. Ham's team and I separated when we entered Sala's laboratory. Then, I released a large number of failed test subjects and created chaos in Sala's laboratory. However, Sala's laboratory's defense is very strong. If I hadn't found the self-destruct button in the end, I'm afraid this operation would have ended in failure. Didn't the people in Sarah's lab use the anesthetic fog? Of course it's not a problem in an open space, but the structure of the underground laboratory has no ventilation. Once they use that kind of mist, it will bring more trouble to themselves, so it's understandable that they didn't choose to use it. The mist also contained the evolution spores, and the researchers were well aware of how dangerous the evolution spores were. Once the fog was used, it was very likely that the entire experimental base would be contaminated. How did Hem die in the end? He died a heroic death, Qin Zhao said. He self-destructed to kill the enemy. There was only relief on Demi's face. There was no regret or pity. To her, Ham's death was already the best news. But the operation wasn't perfect either. Her original plan was to leave a few soldiers alive. But in the end, not a single one survived. Now, she had to worry about how to write the operation report. It was like the police had a shooting report. The military also had similar requirements. Every military operation required a report. Usually, it was written by the people and soldiers who participated in the operation. If all the participants died, then the superior military personnel in Gili would be responsible for writing the report. This kind of report without witnesses or material evidence was very troublesome. If it wasn't written well, they might even be court-martialed. Of course, this had nothing to do with Qin Zhao. Qin Zhao drove Demi to the city and left. They'd just finished a deal, so he had to maintain a certain distance. When Qin Zhao returned to Moon Villa, Portia and Zephyra came out to welcome him. "Boss, you're back." "Humph." Qin Zhao turned his head and ignored Portia. Portia was very embarrassed. She knew that she hadn't done well. There were tickets for other times, but she'd chosen the earliest one. "Boss, don't be angry. I was saving you money. That time is the cheapest. See, you saved more than $100. I don't need that $100. Zephyra, distribute the gifts I brought back to the children." "Oh, I brought you a bunch of Mexican fire opals." Opals were also called opals because they were a strange material formed after precipitation and compression of minerals. When light shone on them, it would diffract and refract colors because of the minerals. They had the flames of ruby, the blue of sapphire, the mysteriousness of amethyst, and the vitality of emerald. Currently, the main production countries were Mexico and Australia. They were famous for their colorful colors. In Europe, opals were stars struck by lightning. In Mexico, opals symbolized hope. The Mexican fire opals Qin Zhao bought for Zephyra were both expensive and cheap. At least, Qin Zhao felt that $8,000 was not expensive. Zephyra was indifferent, but Portia snatched the fire opal from Zephyra's hands. Her eyes sparkled. "It's so beautiful." The fire opal was mainly dark red with rainbow colors brewing in the pearlescent light. The color was mesmerizing. Portia turned to Qin Zhao. "Boss, where's mine?" "What?" "A gift." "What gift?" "Zephyra has a gift." "I should have one too." "Gifts are for the sake of the heart." "What about your heart?" Qin Zhao took out a bottle from his suitcase. Portia took it. It was a transparent bottle. Then she saw nothing. "What?" "That's my heart." "But there's nothing in it." "No, I've filled it with the air of Nakali. Although you can't go to Nakali, you can feel the air of Nakali. Won't you feel much better now?" "Ha!" Portia gritted her teeth at Qin Zhao. Chapter 2005. Qin Zhao's gifts for the children were much more ordinary. It was mainly because he didn't know what to give. So, it was either handicrafts or toys. Of course, a girl's gift was naturally more precious and thoughtful than a boy's. Qin Zhao had a serious tendency to value girls over boys. He even prepared a gift for Xinli in Europe. "Boss, you must love me, right? You must have prepared a gift for me." Only Portia didn't get a gift. She was very upset. It was just a small prank. Why couldn't she get a gift? "Portia, don't be dissatisfied. That bottle of air from Mersicali is the most thoughtful gift in my life. It's an honor that even my family doesn't have. I don't want air. I want a gift." Okay. Your gift is still in the trunk of my car. Take it yourself." Portia happily ran to get it. But when she got it, Portia was angry again. "What's this? Is this a suit?" Portia couldn't understand it. It was a one-piece suit. It looked like it was for sports. Chen Zhao glanced at Portia. It's called Shortcut to Heaven. What do you mean? Portia was confused. Afra glanced at the suit in Portia's hands. It's a flying squirrel suit. It's also called a glider suit. It's a body gliding suit in extreme sports. Boss, why did you give me this? I don't do body gliding, Portia said in disdain. Wow, Dad, I want it too. I want to fly too. Jerlin saw Portia's glider suit. Not only her, but the other children were also excited. They didn't know what fear was at all. Compared to the gifts Chen Zhao had chosen for them, they preferred thrilling things like this. Look, the children all like it. Why don't you like it? Since he'd already chosen the gift, Chen Zhao wouldn't return it. No matter how much Portia disliked it, Chen Zhao wouldn't change his mind. Portia wanted to cry. She didn't even dare to play with it. What was the use of it? During this time, the White Elves seemed to have disappeared without a trace. As the leader of the White Elves, Meislan Pool was even more low-key. He had never shown himself in front of anyone. During this time, Meislan Pool was under a lot of pressure. This was because they had failed to defend against the Dark Elves led by Lila Gavich. As a result, Lila Gavich entered the secret cave and obtained Armanditor's blood. In a short period of time, he had become a great elf. And according to the reports of the informants hidden among the Dark Elves, Lila Gavich had fulfilled many of the requirements to become an elven envoy. Now, Lila Gavich had a good chance of becoming the first elven messenger in centuries. The elf envoy was not the elf king, so he did not have the right to restrict and command the White Elves. But the symbolism of the elves was very great. Furthermore, elven envoys had many unique spells, two of which were Elemental Pardon and Nature's Glory. Mastering Elemental Pardon meant that directional elemental attacks were practically useless against him. Nature's Brilliance was even more frightening. As long as it was in a forest or there were plants around it, the spirit envoy would be invincible. The fairy envoys could receive an endless supply of gifts from nature. Even in a steel jungle, it was impossible to not find any plants. Although they were far less powerful than in a real forest, they were still difficult to defeat. This was definitely not good news for the White Elves and Meislan Pool. The White Elves and the Dark Elves had been fighting for thousands of years. Although there was no real full-scale war, that was because both sides were about the same in strength. No one wanted both sides to suffer losses. And in the thousands of years of confrontation, the White Elves had always been slightly ahead of the Dark Elves. But once a great elf and elf envoy appeared among the Dark Elves, the situation would completely change. No one could guarantee that the balance would be maintained when an elf envoy appeared among the Dark Elves. A great elf already had the effect of suppressing and encouraging the lower elves. With the addition of the title of elf envoy, the White Elves would have no chance of winning. Now there were only two solutions. One was, of course, to kill Lila Gavich before he passed the test of nature. But now, Lila Gavich was hiding in a place where even his clansmen could not find him. It was almost impossible to find him. Lila Gavich had always been known for his cunning. In the past few decades, Meislan Pool and Lila Gavich had also been fighting for decades. Lila Gavich might not be the most outstanding clan leader in the history of the Dark Elves. But he was definitely the most cunning clan leader. When he did not even tell his own clansmen where he was hiding, it meant that he was fully prepared. Others would not be able to find his hiding place. Moreover, he could really hide in the deep mountains and forests for a month or two. After all, he was an elf who was close to nature. And the White Elf spies among the Dark Elves could not get through to Lila Gavich. So the first solution obviously would not work. The people Meislan Pool sent to search for Lila Gavich also had no clues. So now, Meislan Pool had to choose another solution. Undine, from today onwards, you will be the clan leader of the White Elves, Meislan Pool said. Pool, you should know my relationship with Lila Gavich. Are you really going to give me the position of clan leader? Undine was telling the truth. Even Bao, and Bader were Lila Gavich's children. Moreover, Undine had never hidden the origins of the two children, and many people in the clan knew about it. Although the two clans hated each other, there was no melodramatic story like Romeo and Juliet. They had separated purely because of their relationship. But Undine still did not think that she would be a good clan leader. Undine's expression was serious. Maislan Pool's expression became even more serious. I will only say it once. It will be the only time it will work, Maislan Pool said. Pool, what are you going to do? Stop Lila Gavich from becoming the elf messenger. You can't even find him. How are you going to stop him? I don't need to find him. I already thought of another way, Maislan Pool said calmly. Undine took a deep breath and stared at Maislan Pool. She could vaguely guess what Maislan Pool was going to do. Don't say it even if you guessed it. Words have power. 9 Heavens God Emperor. Chapter 2006. Some cultures were interconnected. For example, reincarnation. Western and Chinese civilizations both believed in reincarnation. Another example was the power of language. In the East, there was a saying that a word could become a prophecy. In the West, there was also a culture of words. Some words would come true when spoken. If these words were spoken by a normal person, perhaps nothing would happen. Because the power of magic first needed belief. Only with belief could one have this power. But in the spiritual world, the possibility of something happening or coming true when spoken was very high. So in the spiritual world, some words could not be spoken casually. However, Undine, who had guessed Maislan's intentions, felt terrible. You're crazy. Do you know the consequences of this? I know. Maislan raised his right arm. Undine saw that Maislan's wrist had been cut open. What flowed out wasn't red blood, but black blood. Help me take care of my people. I'm not a qualified leader, but I hope to use my last bit of strength to protect them. Maislan Pooloo used a calm tone to speak resolutely. Maislan's arm began to corrode. It disintegrated and collapsed like black sand. This disintegration and collapse continued to spread upwards, then his body, his neck, and finally his entire body. Maislan ignored the abnormality of his body and walked towards Undine step by step. He tapped a finger on Undine's forehead. A white rune appeared on Undine's forehead. Undine wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Maislan Pooloo didn't discuss this with him at all. He killed himself, and he didn't return to nature. He fell into hell. In the end, Maislan Pooloo turned into a pile of black sand and completely disappeared from this world. As the leader of the White Elves, I pardon your great sin. I hope your soul can return to nature, Undine said calmly. She didn't seem to have much emotion in her tone. She didn't agree with Maislan's actions. But it was meaningless to question or criticize Maislan now. Maislan was already dead. As for whether he succeeded or not, he would have to wait until that day to find out. Somewhere deep in the mountains, Lila Gavik suddenly shivered. Fuck, what's with this feeling? As Methlon Pryor had guessed, Lila Gavich had gone into hiding as a savage in the deep woods. This caused him to lose at least 10 kilograms of weight from his original weight of 100 kilograms. He couldn't even eat breakfast, even though he had prepared a lot of food. However, many foods required further processing. Even making coffee required a pot of boiling water. Is it some kind of bad warning? Lila Gavik was a little worried. Logically speaking, no one should be able to discover him here. He had gone to great lengths to hide here. Everything was arranged and prepared by him. He decided not to contact anyone until the test of nature arrived. He would only contact Chen Zhao on that day. This would also ensure the greatest degree of safety. However, the sudden chill made Lila Gavik vaguely sense something. He did not understand where this sense of danger was coming from. He didn't know what went wrong with him. Right now, he didn't dare to contact anyone, let alone ask for information. After all, whatever he did now was risky. The best choice was to do nothing. No matter how he thought about it, Lila Gavik still felt uneasy. He didn't trust his own people now because he knew that there were white elf spies among them. Just like how there were white elf spies among the white elves. So, he decided to find Qin Zhao. As long as Qin Zhao didn't change his mind, he would be fine. Qin Zhao was his greatest trump card and also his greatest guarantee. Hello, Mr. Qin, it's me. Are you going to give birth? Qin Zhao teased. I'm not going to give birth. I'm going through a tribulation. Okay, where are you now? I'll go over now. No, I'm not going to give birth now. No, I'm not going through a tribulation now either. Then why did you call me? Are you asking about me? I suddenly had a bad feeling just now, as if something had happened, so I wanted to ask Mr. Chen if you've changed your mind. No, I won't change my mind, Qin Zhao said. What if the white elves give you an offer you can't refuse? I'll finish what I promised you first and then kill you. Mr. Chen, no matter what they offer, I'll pay double after it's done. Okay, I'll tell the white elves what you said. Tell them for what? They'll definitely offer a higher price and you'll have to pay double. Mr. Chen, this joke isn't funny. Okay, I don't want to waste time with you. I'm helping you this time because I owe you. Whether it's you or the white elves, there's nothing worth thinking about. That's all. Qin Zhao more or less knew about Lila Gavik's businesses. Although they were quite profitable, they were all industries with a certain degree of pollution and danger. Qin Zhao really wasn't interested. He couldn't offer anything that interested him. After hanging up, Qin Zhao glanced at Fei Lai at the table. Fei Lai, it's late. Don't you have work today? I asked Robio for leave. Leave? Are you not feeling well? No, Fei Lai said. I'm going to Mirror Lake. The house is finished, but I haven't checked the feng shui yet. If I wait until the surrounding landscape is done, I won't be able to change the feng shui. If Fei Lai hadn't mentioned it, Qin Zhao would have thought that she'd forgotten about her identity as a feng shui master. Okay. Qin Zhao shrugged helplessly. A while later, Portia and Zephyra arrived too. After breakfast, everyone went straight to Mirror Lake. Fellwood, are you at the construction site now? I haven't gone yet. Mr. Qin, are you coming today? Yes, Fei Lai and I are going. You should come as soon as possible. What's the matter? Fei Lai has any requests for the villa's surroundings later. Just listen and do as she says. Okay, I understand. Fellwood remembered that Fei Lai had also made her own requests when Mingyue Villa was completed last time. Qin Zhao had said the same thing. He just listened and didn't have to raise his professional concerns. He would do whatever Fei Lai asked. Chapter 2007. Fellwood Cisco arrived before Qin Zhao and Fei Lai. Morning, Miss Fei Lai. Morning, Mr. Fellwood, Fei Lai said. You talk to Qin Zhao. I'll walk around. Okay. Fei Lai wandered around the area by herself. She was becoming more and more like a charlatan. No, a feng shui master. First, she looked at the terrain, then the feng shui. Fei Lai ran to the top of the waterfall and looked from above. At the same time, she took out a notebook and made notes. Huh. I didn't realize before that Mirror Lake is a huge treasure bowl. In feng shui, living water was wealth and dead water was disaster. Falling water from the waterfall brought wealth and treasure. Then, it was released into the river, turning dead water into life. In the past, Qin Zhao had widened the river to allow boats to enter and leave Mirror Lake. It was originally an unintentional action, but because of this unintentional action, it became the finishing touch. Mirror Lake faced the sea. When the sun rose, the first wisp of purple chi would gather. The purple chi turned into all things and the water flowed east. Mirror Lake's feng shui was already the pinnacle of wealth and fortune. A natural treasure land was nothing special. Moreover, Qin Zhao didn't plan on participating in politics, so he didn't ask for purple chi to come from the east. This was Qin Zhao's fate. When he'd bought this land, he'd felt that it was fated. He'd never considered things like feng shui, but he didn't expect it to turn out like this. Fei Lai looked at the layout and direction of the villa. In the past, Fei Lai wouldn't have believed in such supernatural things. But ever since he met Qin Zhao, he learned many things about the spiritual world. She also understood that there were many things in this world that she couldn't understand with her previous worldview. This became her opportunity to learn feng shui. Fei Lai didn't know how much she'd learned. There were some things Fei Lai could see, and some things she couldn't. Nevertheless, this didn't stop her passion for feng shui. After 20 minutes, Fei Lai was almost done. He came to Qin Zhao and Felwood's side. Mr. Felwood, along the way to the garage, I hope to transplant 18 oak trees that are at least 50 years old. It would be best if they're more than 100 years old. Felwood, find oak trees that are more than 100 years old, Qin Zhao said. Just report the cost to me afterward. All right, no problem. 18 oak trees should be evenly distributed on both sides of the driveway. I understand. Fei Lai was very strict in this area. Even Qin Zhao had no right to object to her arrangements. Also, help me expand my vineyard a little more. Fei Lai listed a dozen more requests, and Felwood had to jot them down in his notebook. Fei Lai, let's go inside and take a look. The interior has been renovated. Qin Zhao held Fei Lai's hand and walked into the mansion. Fei Lai, what do the 18 oak trees have to say? Remember what I said about oak trees? Fei Lai said. Ah. I remember. You said it before. Qin Zhao did remember Fei Lai saying it before. But Fei Lai had said too much, so Qin Zhao didn't remember it clearly. In ancient Huaxia, oak trees were the main beams of palaces. They had to be more than 100 years old to bear the weight of the main beam. The wood was sturdy and heavy. The big ones could be the main beam, while the small ones could be the firewood. The beam could bear the weight of the world and bear the weight of the world. The firewood could burn the light and illuminate the air. The oak tree was majestic and carried the weight of the pillar. Ah. Right. Qin Zhao patted his head to hide his awkwardness. Even though Fei Lai had said it again, Qin Zhao didn't remember it clearly. Fei Lai continued, there are 9 layers in the sky and 9 states on the earth. 18 is the number of the world, so the 18 oak trees are meant to carry the world. Do you want me to be the emperor? Fei Lai rolled her eyes. You don't have the image of a true dragon and you don't have the ziwei in the sky. You can't be the emperor in this life. You're a greedy wolf and will always be a killer. The 18 oak trees are the backbone of your destiny. They can support the world and the 9 states. The oak trees also block the wind and rain, which means that you have to protect the family. This is too mysterious. My head is going to explode. You're a spiritualist, after all. Is it that hard to understand? Everyone has their own specialties. To put it nicely, you're a liberal arts student and I'm a science student. After walking around the mansion, Felwood came to Qin Zhao and Fei Lai again. Mr. Qin, Miss Fei Lai, do you think there's anything you need to improve? It's great, Fei Lai said. I like it. If Fei Lai likes it, I like it too. When can we move in? Actually, we can already move in, but Miss Fei Lai's suggestion will take a few more days. After all, we need to find oak trees over 100 years old. Also, the government has rules that anything over 100 years old, whether it's an oak tree or not, needs to be approved. It also takes some time. I won't ask about that, Chen Zhao said. I believe you have the ability to solve it. Of course. The 100-year-old oak tree in Mingyue Villa was transported from the north. There are more oak trees in the north. Also, the local government there mostly relies on forest resources as taxes. As long as the price is high enough, they won't reject this business. Oak trees were America's national trees, but when it came to huge economic benefits, no matter what symbolism it had, it couldn't stop humans. Before December, the two of you and your families will be able to move in. Okay, we'll wait for the final inspection. Chen Zhao nodded. By the way, Fellwood, you've already started on Stephen's mansion, right? Yes, I've already started laying the foundation. How many people do you have in your company? Manpower isn't a problem. What about the private airport I mentioned to you last time? You still remember, right? I remember. Do you have enough people? I hope to start construction in the near future. How about this, Mr. Chen? I'll give you the design first and estimate the cost. At the same time, I'll hire more construction workers. That way, we won't waste any time. Sure. I hope the construction cost can be under $400 million. I don't need a big airport. It can only hold 2 or 3 small and medium-sized planes at most, so I don't need it to be as big as a civil airport. I understand. I'll take note. Also, don't forget about the location. Of course, I won't forget. Let's stop here for today. Also, I'll send you the rest of the payment for Mirror Lake Manor. Mr. Chen, you haven't finished the inspection yet. It's fine. We've worked together so many times. I believe you won't disappoint me. Chapter 2008. Chen, don't change the layout of Mirror Lake. Why is that? Mirror Lake is a cornucopia. I know. Our family's brewery uses water extracted from Mirror Lake. No, I mean the feng shui pattern of Mirror Lake is a natural cornucopia. Really? Chen Zhao was surprised too. To be honest, your luck is really good. Will the feng shui be changed by someone maliciously? Other than the gradual change of the landscape, feng shui has to be very obvious if someone wants to destroy it. We're not blind. How can we let someone destroy it? Fei Lai said. Oh, I might have found a way to go to Treasure Island, Chen Zhao said. Really? When are we going? We need to wait for the last storm of the year. However, he couldn't be completely sure right now. After all, the news came from Lila Gage. He also said that he would look for a witch who could pilot the ship. I wonder if he has found it yet. On the way, Chen Zhao received a call from Zhang Tianyi. Hey, Chen Zhao, are you home? I just arrived at my house and got out of the car. What are you doing? I've already sent the elemental fruit to Los Angeles. I'll have someone deliver it now. You didn't ask Yang Guo to deliver it, did you? He's from the Los Angeles resident office. Who else could it be? Don't play dumb, Chen Zhao yelled angrily. You know he's my informant now. Aren't you trying to expose him by asking him to give me something? You're trying to make my arrangements useless, aren't you? I don't trust anyone else to deliver such an expensive gift. Come on, send the things to my house the same way you sent them abroad. It was sent by Yang Guo's wife, Xiao Longnu. Are you sure you want his wife to send it to you? Does the outside world know about their relationship? The outside world doesn't know, but I don't think you should let his wife give you elemental fruits. Why? His wife is very beautiful. Are you afraid that I'll rape a commoner girl? Come to think of it, since she dared to call herself Xiao Longnu, she must have some talent. Chen Zhao was looking forward to it. Xiao Longnu, even though it was an imitation. But at the very least, he should have some standard. However, he hoped that Xiao Longnu would not become a steamed bun. She's a dragon. Zhang Tianyi said simply. Okay, I got it, Qin Zhao was helpless. If the legendary dragon maiden came to Mingyue Villa, he wouldn't be able to do anything. Seeing Qin Zhao casually display the dragon's head in the yard, Qin Zhao's eyes widened. Xiao Longnu would probably get mad at him too. At that time, if they were to fight, it would be embarrassing for everyone. After all, Qin Zhao had a good relationship with Dragon Tiger Mountain. Qin Zhao could not kill Xiao Longnu. But as long as they fought, it was inevitable that there would be some bumps. Didn't anyone else follow? No, it's more convenient for her to deliver it alone. If she brought a few disciples of Mount Longhu with her, even a blind person would know what kind of treasure it is. If it gets lost along the way, I don't think you'll let it go. Who dares to snatch something from Longhu Mountain? Furthermore, it's being escorted by a member of the dragon race. Qin Zhao didn't believe it. He had seen a few Dragon Tiger Mountain disciples before. The disciples from Mount Longhu were all dragons and phoenixes among men, possessing outstanding strength. They were no weaker than the members of the supernatural organization. Plus, there was a member of the dragon race. An adult dragon was about as strong as a Shengqing state cultivator. They might not be invincible, but they were at least rare. Qin Zhao didn't believe that someone would dare to rob such a group. Even Qin Zhao had to think about Dragon Tiger Mountain's reputation before doing anything. It's safe abroad, but there are too many masters in the spiritual world in the country. Even I can't say that I won't run into trouble when I go out. That's why I said you're not ruthless enough. Break the limbs of anyone who dares to rob. After a few times, the effect will definitely be great. That's easy for you to say. The forces in the spirit world in our country are very complicated. It's not something you can imagine. Any random youngster in the spirit world could be the last disciple of some expert. Our Mount Longhu has always been kind to others, and this old man has been doing good deeds all year round. How could I kill a junior as I please? Hypocrite, Qin Zhao said in disdain. Cut the crap. I've already sent it to LA. How do I get it to you? Forget it. Where's that Xiao Longnu now? I'll go get it. Go get it. I'll have her contact you. After hanging up the call with Zhang Tianyi, an unfamiliar phone number came in shortly after. It was a woman on the other end of the phone, and she was speaking fluent Chinese. Hello, are you Xiao Longnu? Compared to where they were meeting, Qin Zhao was more curious about whether it was really Xiao Longnu. I'm a Kra Buman. You're not Xiao Longnu. That's the title that the Grand Master forced on me. Oh, so you're Xiao Longnu. Do you still want the thing? Where are you now? I'll go find you. The two agreed to meet at a Chinese restaurant. Qin Zhao hurried out. Qin Zhao arrived at the restaurant first. Then, he saw a tall, brown-haired beauty walk over. The brown-haired beauty stood before him. You're Mr. Qin. Have you seen me before? Qin Zhao studied a Kra Buman. No, but you have dragon blood on you not long ago. It's not hard to tell, a Kra Buman said. Akra Buman said, Grandmaster also warned me that I can't beat you. For him to say that, it means that you must have proven your appetite. That's a good analysis. Give it to me. I think you're Mr. Qin, but you need to prove your identity. This is my driver's license. The ID might be fake. Qin Zhao pursed his lips. So troublesome. How to prove it? It was like how some departments always made unreasonable requests. For example, how could you prove that your son is your son? Qin Zhao wondered how long a Kra Buman had been in China for him to have gotten this bad habit. Then how do you think I should prove that I'm Qin Zhao? You can just give Grandmaster a call. Yeah, I should have thought of that. Qin Zhao clapped his hands. Use my phone, a Kra Buman said. Hey, old Zhang, your granddaughter-in-law is a bit stubborn. She said that if I don't prove my identity, she won't give it to me. Xiao Longnu, it's me. Give it to Qin Zhao now and then you'll have nothing to do with him. Chapter 2009. Xiao Longnu could tell that Qin Zhao was a very troublesome person. Otherwise, the Grand Master wouldn't be in such a hurry to get her to cut ties with Qin Zhao after delivering the gift. The Grand Master seemed unreliable most of the time. However, when he was serious, he gave off a sense of conviction. Zhang, what do you mean? It's obvious. You're a dangerous person. Qin Zhao was still talking to Zhang, the phone under his shoulder. He took the box from Xiao Longnu and opened it. There was a fruit he didn't recognize in the box. Is this it? Is this an elemental fruit? Qin Zhao was about to take it when Xiao Longnu immediately stopped him. You can't take it out. Why? You have to eat it within 3 minutes of taking it out, or it'll explode, Zhang Tianyi said. Are you sure it won't kill you? Qin Zhao was worried about the fact that it would explode if he didn't eat it. Would it really not explode in his stomach? If a regular creature eats it, there's a possibility of it exploding. But if it's a spiritual beast or a demon that's awakened intelligence, you don't have to worry. Only one. Where's the other one? I'll give the dragon heart to the Dragon King first. I'll pay the other two. This is the deposit. Can people eat it? Qin Zhao asked curiously. I've never heard of anyone eating it. You can try. It shouldn't kill you. Zhang Tianyi sounded like he really wanted to encourage Qin Zhao to eat it. I'll be a fool if I believe you. Qin Zhao felt that he should follow a rule. If Zhang said yes, then no. As long as he followed this rule, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage no matter what. But if he took Zhang's words seriously, he might really lose his life. Do you need me to bring Yang's wife around LA? Qin Zhao asked. No, definitely not. Qin Zhao shrugged. Why do I feel a deep evil intent? As the saying goes, don't have the intention to harm others, but don't be defenseless, Zhang Tianyi said mercilessly. Accra, goodbye. Qin Zhao turned and left in anger. Qin Zhao bid farewell to Accra Buman and drove away. Along the way, Qin Zhao saw Sharon doing something that 99% of the people in the world would hate to the bone. Getting a ticket. Qin Zhao stopped the car beside Sharon. Hi, darling. Sharon turned to look at him. Are you going home? Yeah, are you busy? Sharon checked the time and looked up at him. 2 of the people you sent to prison last time died before they could even go to court. Did you do it? Please, I'm a law-abiding citizen. How could I do something like that? I can only say that the prisons in the United States are too dark. Just thinking about it scares me. Sharon looked at the time and stared at him. You really didn't do it? I remember that when you saw them at the police station, you said that you wouldn't let them leave the prison alive. You must have remembered wrongly. By the way, are you in a hurry? I've been checking the time. No, I'm not in a hurry. Then why do you keep looking at the time? 3 minutes are up. Sharon took out a ticket and stuck it on Qin Zhao's windshield. This is a non-parking space and it's been more than 3 minutes. You clearly saw me pasting a ticket here, but you still dare to stop before me. Fuck. Qin Zhao gritted his teeth and stared at Sharon. You're too much. You could have warned me. I didn't have the obligation to warn you. I was going to treat you to an afternoon dessert. Can I understand that you're bribing me? Pretend I didn't say anything. Since you already said it, you should keep your promise, Sharon said matter-of-factly. Qin Zhao was helpless. Sharon wanted dessert and even gave him a ticket. She didn't know how to behave. Sharon drove her police motorcycle and followed behind Qin Zhao. The two arrived at an open-air restaurant. It wasn't their first time at this open-air restaurant. Both of them enjoyed eating desserts while looking at passers-by on the streets. Qin, you really didn't kill those two? No, they haven't been sentenced yet, Qin Zhao said matter-of-factly. Why would I kill them? If I really wanted to kill them, I wouldn't have sent them to prison first. This wasn't the prison life Qin Zhao had planned for them. Qin Zhao didn't even have time to exert any strength before he died. Do you not trust me that much? I trust you this time, Sharon said. Oh. It's rare for you to trust me so easily. In the past 3 months, a few people have died in that prison. It's the one you stayed in for a few days. LA 7th prison. Yes, they were lucky enough to stay there too. That prison isn't peaceful, Qin Zhao said weakly. I was bullied so badly there. Sharon glanced at Qin Zhao. She wouldn't believe his words. Because Qin Zhao had gone to prison because he'd helped her. Sharon was worried that Qin Zhao would regret being bullied in prison. Then, she used her connections to ask the prison guard. In the end, the guard said that on the first day, Qin Zhao had beaten up his cellmate. During lunch and dinner, he'd injured more than 10 people. On the second day, he'd purposely provoked gangs and injured more than 20 people. How could that be called being bullied badly? Sharon had never seen such an arrogant prison bully. Usually, even the most arrogant prisoners would stay obediently for a few days in prison. But Qin Zhao immediately became a prison bully that no one dared to offend. Okay, stop reminiscing about your glorious past, Sharon said, rolling her eyes. Sharon rolled her eyes and said, You've lived in that prison before. Do you know anyone suspicious in that prison? I was busy dealing with people, Sharon said, rolling her eyes. After 2 or 3 fights, no one dared to offend me anymore. I didn't find anyone suspicious either. However, Qin Zhao thought of the white nightmare he'd met in that prison. What was that white nightmare's background? Qin Zhao was very curious. But he hadn't been in prison for long that time. He'd only interacted with White Nightmare once. White Nightmare had escaped too quickly, so Qin Zhao couldn't catch her. In the end, Qin Zhao was released. By the way, help me investigate Morocco Piccolo. As Qin Zhao's cellmate, Qin Zhao felt that he might have some clues. Morocco was a frequent visitor to that prison. It was normal for him to go in and out. Chapter 2010. Who's this Morocco Bic? He used to be my cellmate. He's a frequent visitor to that prison, Qin Zhao said. If you can find him, you might be able to get some clues. Okay, I'll go look for him. You're investigating this case? Or your boss? Is there a difference? We're both cops. It's the same no matter who's investigating. Qin Zhao shrugged, but Caprice was the prison's warden. Qin Zhao felt that he had to inform her. After parting with Sharon, Qin Zhao called Caprice. Hello, my dear warden. Qin, how come you have time to call me? Caprice was a bit surprised to receive Qin Zhao's call. I heard that a few prisoners have died in your prison in the past 3 months. Does this have anything to do with you? Who told you that? It has nothing to do with me. Caprice was very sensitive and sensed something. A cop. She's investigating this. I hope it has nothing to do with you, Qin Zhao said honestly. But I know that your prison has prison guards who organize underground boxing matches at night. Don't tell me you don't know anything. Of course I know. Caprice didn't just know. She was even the founder and controller of the underground boxing matches. To Qin Zhao, the income from each match was nothing. However, for Caprice, a few $1,000s per night was still a considerable amount. Moreover, Caprice had set up a series of rules. There was a certain level of danger in the underground boxing matches. However, they weren't much more dangerous than regular boxing matches. There might not even be one in a year that had an accident. Recently, there had been a lot of deaths in the prison, but it had nothing to do with the underground boxing matches. None of the dead prisoners had participated in the underground boxing matches. Because of the continuous deaths, there had been rumors among the prisoners that it was the White Nightmare who had killed the prisoners. Whether it was the prison guards or the prisoners, everyone was on tenterhooks. However, Qin Zhao's tip-off also raised Caprice's guard. Even if something had happened in the prison, she didn't like being investigated. After all, there were many secrets in prison that could not see the light of day. If these secrets were discovered, then she would also be in trouble. Thank you for the information. It's best to focus during the battle. Terry Boyd glanced at West, who was busy making a call. West shrugged. It's our boss's call. If I don't answer it, he will think that something happened to us. Then, he will personally come over. Hello. President. Are you busy? Just a little trouble. West looked at the spirit beasts that covered the entire mountain. Am I bothering you? No, guild leader. Is something the matter? At this moment, a few spirit beasts appeared before West. A bright light flashed in West's eyes. A few spirit beasts instantly froze in midair. After that, a few vines drilled out from the ground and directly coiled around the spirit beast. I want to ask you something. Have you heard of the White Nightmare? White Nightmare. Devil? Nightmare? Looks like you don't know either, Qin Zhao said disappointedly. Whatever, it's fine. Go back to work. White Nightmare. Just then, Terry Boyd, who was beside West, turned to look at him. I know. West, who's beside you? He said he knows the White Nightmare. A temporary member, West said. He saw that we have more people and came to suck up to us. Do you want me to talk to your president? Terry Boyd asked. Sure, talk to our president. West handed the phone to Terry Boyle. Hi, I'm Terry Boyd. I've heard a lot about you. Hi, Qin Zhao replied coldly. After all, they weren't close. Qin Zhao really wasn't interested in pretending to be nice. I heard that you want to ask about the White Nightmare. Yeah, you know about it. Prison, hospital, funeral parlor. These are the three places where it's most likely to appear. Where did you hear about it? Prison. Qin Zhao's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that Terry Boyd really knew about the White Nightmare. White Nightmare, also known as White Beast, eats the last thoughts of the dead, Terry Boyd said. Terry Boyle said, they will also fulfill the wishes of the deceased. Of course, that's when they are able to. That's not right. I can understand hospitals and funeral parlor, but prison isn't a place where people die normally. Why would White Nightmare appear? They can sense death, especially the omens of evil people's death. To them, it's as bright as a lighthouse. And because the evil people's resentment is greater than that of ordinary people, it's extremely easy for them to turn into evil spirits. They will appear beside the evil people in advance, first eating the evil people's resentment, and then letting the evil people face death. It's not an exaggeration to say that they are the omens of death, and they often attach themselves to cats, dogs, or birds. That's why the White Nightmare nightmares love to appear in prisons. So, they can only foresee death. Instead of massacres. White Nightmare nightmares are kind beasts, not evil beasts, Terry Boyle said. They won't attack people on their own, much less kill. According to this person, the consecutive deaths of the prisoners in LA's 7th prison had nothing to do with the White Nightmare. The White Nightmare had appeared much earlier than the deaths of the prisoners. Oh, normal people can see it too, right? People who are about to die can see it, but normal people can't. So, the consecutive deaths had nothing to do with the White Nightmare? Okay, thank you for your explanation. Mr. Chen, don't hang up yet. Let's talk. Aren't you guys fighting? Yes, but these enemies are too weak. They can't threaten any of us at all. Mr. Chen, how did you train them? They seem to be very good at fighting, especially in large-scale chaotic situations like this. You should be asking West, not me. If West was willing to talk, it meant that he trusted Qin Zhao. If he didn't, Qin Zhao wouldn't either. Chapter 2011. Hey, Terry, when are you going to stop? West had been bringing people to poke the hornet's nest every day. They had poked a few nests of the spirit beasts over the past few days. The spirit beasts were not strong. At least, a spirit beast nest was not a threat to them. However, doing the same thing every day, no matter how thrilling it was, would be boring. It was as if turning an interest into a job would make it less fun. I want to, but I'm forcing the spirit of Juon to make a move now. Why do you have to force the spirit of Juon to make a move? Is he the best? No, the other three exist in the form of tribes or armies. For example, the number of spirit beasts we've killed these few days has reached at least 80,000, if not 100,000. But do you think we'll really be able to kill all of them? Terry Boyle said helplessly, only the spirit of the curse can be killed. The other three are unnatural creatures, but they are born to obey nature. They are actually part of the balance. The spirit of the curse is the true unnatural creature. Its appearance is completely caused by humans. The killing and destruction for entertainment purposes have long attracted the spirit of the curse. So, killing the spirit of the curse is my ultimate goal. I still don't understand. If you want to kill the spirit of Juon, why do you attack the spirit beasts? Is it because they are easy to bully? It's one thing to bully the spirit beasts, but the real reason is to lure the spirit of Juon out. I still don't understand. Remember what Malone said to you in the beginning? Malone said that you are seriously injured and killing unnatural creatures can make their energy return to nature. You can also speed up your recovery. But now, I can be sure that this is fake news. That's right, it's fake news. I deliberately released it, Terry said. If you were the spirit of Juon, would you let me recover? Or would you attack when I am seriously injured? But it's been so long. Why hasn't the spirit of Juon made a move? What is it waiting for? That's because I haven't shown up yet. The spirit of vengeance has been thinking that I'm hiding in a corner to recuperate, so it must be desperately looking for me. Didn't you notice? There are a lot of cultists gathering here, and they're all looking for me. I have to say, you humans are really many, and all of them are hopeless. West turned his head away. He also felt that the cultists were really stupid. All of them pursued redemption, but their redemption was to destroy the world first. What made them think that they would be saved by God if they committed the crime of destroying the world? Even West felt embarrassed. Couldn't these evil cultists be more intelligent? Even if they're using the fact that I don't like the entire human race, it's still better than destroying the world for the sake of redemption. Then hurry up and show yourself. We'll cooperate with you and put on a show. Don't be hasty. If we act too hasty, the spirit of Juon won't be fooled easily. It might even become suspicious. Where is the nest of the spirit of cursing? If he doesn't come out, why don't we go there directly? If I wanted to find his lair, would I let him stay until now? How troublesome, West complained. Chen Zhao, the second elemental fruit has been sent to Los Angeles. Go and receive it. Old Zhang, I really suspect that you've cheated more elemental fruits from the Dragon King, and then only gave me 2 of them. Don't be like this. We have to trust each other and not suspect each other. It'll affect our relationship. What relationship do you have with me? Tell me the truth. How many did you ask the Dragon King for? Just 3. Do you think elemental fruits are like dragon fruits that you can have as many as you want? But I'm just suspicious. What should I do? It hurts my heart to hear you think like that. It's mainly because you gave it too easily. I really didn't. It's useless even if you kill me. I only took 1 as payment. Forget it. I'll have a way to verify it in the future. This elemental fruit can be eaten by any beast that has awakened magic power or intelligence or has transformed into a demon, right? Yes, it's a non-human earthly treasure. What do you mean? What does non-human earthly treasure mean? Humans are the spirit of all creatures. They gather the spirits of the world and occupy the fortune of the world. This also makes it difficult for other species to steal resources from humans. It's the same for normal beasts, spiritual beasts, and demons. That's why the world gave birth to these non-human earthly treasures. It means that humans can't use, eat, or steal spiritual fruits and treasures. In nature, humans can't eat them, but other animals can. Chen Zhao didn't know if Princess was a demon, spiritual, or magical beast. Chen Zhao had given Princess an intelligence potion before, so she should have awakened her intelligence. Princess had also used strengthening potions and demonic potions. She had a demon bloodline. A few days ago, she had also awakened an earth elemental talent. You've seen my Princess Ursa, right? Yes. Why? Princess awakened an earth elemental talent a few days ago and can control the power of the earth. If I give her an elemental fruit, will she get another talent or strengthen her original earth elemental talent? I don't know. I don't know much about elemental fruits. Let her eat it. She really won't die, right? Chen Zhao asked, still worried. Anyway, I've never heard of anyone dying from eating an elemental fruit. It should be safe. Chen Zhao glanced at the lazy bear sunbathing in the yard. He considered giving Princess a try tonight. Chen Zhao had many pets at home, but he only dared to give them to Princess. Walter was also a hybrid, but he hadn't awakened a talent. Chen Zhao was afraid that something would happen to him. White Snow was the same. Although it had been strengthened, it didn't have a talent. As for Beelzebub and the others, they weren't animals or beasts. They were demons. They were just projections in this world in the form of animals. For example, Amon. His projection in this world was a giant whale. There was also the resurrected Lika Gats Beria in the underground laboratory. They were both Beria's subordinates, but their forms were worlds apart. Then I'm relieved, Chen Zhao said. Oh, what else? If anything happens to my pets, I'll go to Dragon Tiger Mountain and kill their guardian beast. Chen Zhao, can you not be so hooligan? You guaranteed it, so you should take responsibility, right? Even if I take responsibility, I don't think so. Chapter 2012. It's little dragon girl again. Let's get down to business. Zhang Tianyi's tone suddenly turned serious. I have a favor to ask of you. Favor of me? What is it? It's not a big deal. Just help me beat up the delivery disciple. Are you kidding? No, I'm not kidding. My grand disciple's cultivation method is called the Rui Sutra. It has a flaw, which is that it's extremely powerful. It's no problem for him to fight 10 people at the same level. Fighting 10 people is a flaw. Do you have any other flaws like that? Give me a dozen. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding either. Do you have some misunderstanding about the word flaw? The Rui Sutra's power is an advantage, but it's also a flaw. You have to be defeated at every level. The so-called Rui means that you have to be willing to do it. Why do I have to do this? You can do it too. The Rui Sutra trains the heart. My grand disciple knows that we're worlds apart, so even if I defeat him, he'll think it's natural, because I'm a senior and he's a junior. How can he train his heart when he's in such a state? Zhang Tianyi said, but you're different. He's so arrogant that he thinks he's invincible among his peers. If you defeat him now, his realm will advance by leaps and bounds. Why should I be the bad guy? Chen Zhao said. I won't do it anyway. If someone else could do it, I wouldn't be begging you. Among my grand disciples, none of them can defeat him. Even the few disciples who are qualified to inherit the position of celestial master can't do it. Even among the elders, there are very few who can match him. Now, unless we ask a few old guys to come out, almost no one can stop him. You made me an enemy out of nowhere. How could you come up with such an idea? I'm begging you. Right now, his state of mind is unstable, and he doesn't even know what kind of cultivation method he's practicing. He always thinks that his awesomeness is because of his 1 in a million talent. In fact, although his talent is not bad, it's far from 1 in a million. Even among his fellow disciples, there are many who are more outstanding than him. Why don't you just tell him that the reason why he's so awesome is because of his cultivation technique, not his talent? What he wants is to temper his state of mind, not to directly destroy him. If we tell him the truth, it will directly destroy his pride, and he will be completely crippled. Then are you sure that I won't destroy him if I make a move? No, no. It's not like he hasn't lost before. Although this Rui Sutra is awesome, it's far from being invincible. In the end, it still requires a sufficiently high cultivation base. How far do I need to go? I just have to defeat him, right? No, as long as you can't kill him, then beat him to death. Are you sure? As long as there aren't any sequelae, just hit them. That's what you said. If I break him, you can't blame me. I said it, Zhang Tianyi agreed straightforwardly. Are you sure that your disciple isn't the son of your enemy or something? You agree to this, right? Since you're begging me, I'll reluctantly agree. What's so hard about beating people up? Chen Zhao said casually. But are you sure your disciple won't really treat me as an enemy? I'll just explain it to him after he breaks through. Okay. Does he know that I'm the delivery person this time? No, I haven't told him yet. Call him to the suburbs. I'll give you a place. Tell him to go there so that it'll be easier for me to beat him up. Oh, what's his name again? Yi Fengmiao. This name was definitely the male protagonist's special name. He was now following behind Zhang Tianyi's disciple. He had already followed him for half an hour. Even from a male's perspective, Yi Fengmiao was so handsome that he had no friends. Of course, this also increased Chen Zhao's urge to beat him up. In fact, Yi Fengmiao had also noticed that Chen Zhao had been following him. He could also feel Chen Zhao's murderous aura along the way. Yi Fengmiao didn't know who Chen Zhao was. But someone who could release murderous aura toward him definitely wasn't an ordinary person. Yi Fengmiao still pretended to be ignorant and continued walking toward the place his grandmaster had given him. He guessed the identity of the person following him. At the same time, he was also on guard. At the same time, he secretly called Zhang Tianyi. Grandmaster, I think I'm being followed. What? You're being followed? Who's following you? Is it a spiritualist from North America? I'm not sure. He's very far from me. I can only guess that he's Asian. Then be careful. Also, don't lose the thing I told you to give me. That thing is very important. I heard that many people in the country want to snatch it. The people who are following you are probably from a cult in the country. Zhang Tianyi's acting was very good. He didn't reveal any flaws. Got it. Yi Fengmiao glanced at Chen Zhao, who was far behind him. To be honest, Chen Zhao's tracking skills were really bad. In the past, when Chen Zhao followed others, he mostly relied on the night or flew high in the sky. This way, even if others sensed his aura, they wouldn't be able to determine his location. But it was still daytime. Chen Zhao couldn't fly, so he could only follow on foot. It was reasonable for Yi Fengmiao to discover him. As he walked, Yi Fengmiao thought of a plan. He tried to shake off Chen Zhao, but he realized that although Chen Zhao wasn't very good at tracking, he was very fast. However, his speed was quite fast. He tried to shake him off several times, but to no avail. It seemed that he could only fight. Yi Fengmiao had an idea. Holding a yellow talisman between his fingers, he chanted. The wind hides the white clothes. The yellow water hides the red dust. The cloak concealment spell. At some point, Yi Fengmiao disappeared before Chen Zhao's eyes. Chen Zhao was surprised. How did the kid disappear? Chinese spells were indeed troublesome. His shadow eye couldn't find the kid's sight. Chen Zhao didn't know that the cloak concealment spell could erase all traces in a short time. It was as if the caster had disappeared from the world. No spell could find him. Even Zhang Tianyi couldn't find any traces of Yi Fengmiao, let alone Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao had already arrived at the place where Yi Fengmiao had disappeared. He looked left and right but didn't see Yi Fengmiao. Chapter 2013. No way, he ran away just like that. If he really ran away, he'd lose all his face. At that time, Zhang Tianyi, that old guy, would definitely mock and ridicule him. Chen Zhao had already opened his small world completely. The small world enveloped everything within a radius of 1,000 meters. But he still couldn't find any trace of Yi Fengmiao. Chen Zhao knew that he was nearby. But he just couldn't find him. Just when Chen Zhao thought that Yi Fengmiao had escaped, suddenly, an aura descended from the sky without any warning. Chen Zhao raised his head and saw many burning yellow talismans flying in the sky. Immediately, Chen Zhao felt his head sink, as if something heavy had landed on it. Chen Zhao staggered 2 steps and a burning yellow talisman floated before him. Chen Zhao was stunned. He stared at the yellow talisman before him in shock. The yellow talisman suddenly turned into a yellow turban warrior. Left hook, right hook, uppercut, warrior cleaves the mountain. Chen Zhao didn't know which way was north after this combination of punches. The yellow turban warrior didn't exist for long, only a few dozen seconds. But as soon as it disappeared, Chen Zhao heard Yi Fengmiao's voice. 9 dragons clasp. 9 yellow talismans landed before Chen Zhao. Then they turned into 9 dragon-shaped cyclones. One of the cyclones wrapped around Chen Zhao's neck and turned into a metal clasp. Chen Zhao reached out to break the metal buckle on his neck, but the other 2 dragon-shaped cyclones immediately wrapped around his arms and also turned into metal buckles. Chen Zhao felt the clasp on his neck tighten. The clasps on his arms were also pulling his arms to the sides. They were quite strong, but it wasn't very effective against Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao didn't use his full strength, afraid that he'd scare Yi Fengmiao away. Just then, Yi Fengmiao seemed to think that the situation was set. He revealed himself before Chen Zhao. Sir, who are you? Which sect are you from? Yi Fengmiao looked at Chen Zhao proudly. Hand over what your grandmaster told you to bring and I'll spare your life. Chen Zhao was going to play the bad guy today, so he obviously had to act like one. You're already in my hands. How can you let me live? Yi Fengmiao sneered at Chen Zhao, his eyes filled with disdain. Chen Zhao looked at Yi Fengmiao. To be honest, Yi Fengmiao wasn't led astray. His values were still rather upright. At least, when Yi Fengmiao had the upper hand, he didn't go all out. He also had a sense of propriety when he made his move. It was just that since young, he had always been the center of attention, so it was inevitable for him to be a little self-righteous and condescending. Chen Zhao really didn't want to be the bad guy. No matter how you looked at it, Yi Fengmiao had the fate of a main character. However, since he had promised old man Zhang Tianyi, he had to at least put in some effort. Do you think you can catch me? Chen Zhao shook his arms with all his might. The metal buckles on his arms broke instantly. Yi Fengmiao's pupils constricted as he retreated, casting his spells at the same time. Mount Tai is the prison, the ecliptic subdues the demon. Yi Fengmiao's talent was undeniable. He was currently using an ecliptic path spell. Although the ecliptic Tao was born from Taoism, it did not belong to Taoism. It was a school of its own. The path of the ecliptic was good at divining the stars and fortune, and was also good at subduing demons. The people of Huaxia often talked about the auspicious day of the zodiac, and the zodiac referred to this ecliptic magic technique. However, the current ecliptic lineage was already lacking in disciples. Yi Fengmiao had once obtained an ecliptic path treasure when he was young. He also obtained an ancient book, which allowed him to learn ecliptic path magic. Furthermore, the inheritance of the ecliptic Tao emphasized on talent the most. If one didn't have enough talent, they wouldn't be able to learn it even if the secret manual was placed in front of them. As Yi Fengmiao unleashed her spell, it formed a square cage around Qin Zhao. Seeing that Qin Zhao was trapped, Yi Fengmiao heaved a long sigh of relief. He had never seen anyone who could shatter the 9-dragon buckle with just a vibration. If he hadn't reacted in time, he might have really died in the hands of this guy. Just what sect did this guy belong to? He actually had such an unfathomable cultivation. Looking at his age, he seemed to be only 1 or 2 years older than him. If they were to confront each other head-on, he would probably suffer a crushing defeat. Qin Zhao reached out and grabbed the bars of the cage. The bars weren't made of metal, wood, or stone. It wasn't a normal cage. It was formed with the power of Mount Tai. It was invulnerable to weapons and water and fire. You're a prisoner now. Do you want to tell me who you are? Qin Zhao twisted his neck and looked at Yi Fengmiao. There was also a ninja suit hidden in his spatial ring. The original plan was to pretend to be a Japanese ninja and attack him. That way, he wouldn't have to show his face in public. In the future, if Yi Fengmiao wanted to take revenge, he could go to Japan to find him. However, he didn't even have time to change before they started fighting. Qin Zhao crossed his arms. I want to know how long you can maintain this spell. Light flashed across Yi Fengmiao's eyes. 3/4 of an hour. But in these 3/4 of an hour, I can attack you, but you can't do anything. Do you think you can withstand my attacks for 3/4 of an hour? Qin Zhao rubbed his chin and thought. How long is 3 minutes? Oh, right, it's half an hour, right? Yi Fengmiao snorted, thinking that Qin Zhao was teasing him. Looks like you won't know fear if I don't teach you a lesson. Just then, Yi Fengmiao's phone rang. Yi Fengmiao glanced at it. It was Zhang Tianyi. Xiao Yezi, are you okay? I'm great. Grandmaster, I've already caught that person. I'm asking about his background. You caught him? Yes, I used ecliptic demon suppression to trap him in the cage. Come, let's video call. Maybe I know him. Zhang Tianyi knew that Qin Zhao was definitely going easy on him. However, it would definitely be interesting to see Qin Zhao being trapped by his grand disciple's spell. He had to take a screenshot and save it to humiliate Qin Zhao in the future. But Qin Zhao also heard the conversation between Yi Fengmiao and Zhang Tianyi. How could he give Zhang Tianyi such a chance? Boom! The ground shook. Yi Fengmiao almost lost his footing. He saw that Qin Zhao was punching the cage. Qin Zhao's first punch didn't have any effect. But what was with that earth-shaking tremor? Yi Fengmiao stared at Qin Zhao in shock. Qin Zhao estimated, looks like it's tougher than I thought. If Zhang Tianyi used this move, I'd probably have to use all my strength to break free. Luckily, Yi Fengmiao isn't that old man. Qin Zhao punched the cage again. This time, he was 10 times stronger than before. Boom! The cage collapsed instantly. Before Yi Fengmiao could react, Qin Zhao had already grabbed his neck. Divine Emperor of the 9 Heavens. Chapter 2014. Yi Fengmiao was completely frightened. Ecliptic demon suppression had been broken. It wasn't like ecliptic demon suppression hadn't been broken before. But in the past, it had always been broken by the opponent's techniques. He had never known that the ecliptic demon suppression art could be destroyed through brute force. Today, he had truly broadened his horizons. He had truly broadened his horizons. Yi Fengmiao was extremely fast. Seeing Qin Zhao grab him, he immediately cast Heavenly King's possession on himself. When did Yi Fengmiao become so strong? He felt like he could tear everything apart. But he'd overestimated himself. When he tried to pry open Qin Zhao's palm, he realized that his strength was useless. Even with Heavenly King's possession, he couldn't move Qin Zhao at all. I said, hand over what that old turtle gave you and I'll spare your life. Chen Zhao purposely said this for Zhang Tianyi to hear. Yi Fengmiao hadn't hung up yet. Zhang Tianyi was still on the phone. Chen Zhao snatched Yi Fengmiao's phone and opened the video call. Old turtle, do you want to see how I kill your disciple? Yi Fengmiao felt like he was about to suffocate. Chen Zhao's power was too great. Waves of pain came from his neck. He'd never seen someone who dared to provoke his grandmaster like this. This was not a provocation behind his back. It was right in front of Zhang Tianyi. This guy's guts were boundless. He also dared to provoke Zhang Tianyi like this. Then he'd definitely dare to kill him. This made Yi Fengmiao's limbs turn cold. In the past, no matter what kind of enemy he'd faced, Zhang Tianyi would always stand out to protect him. But this time, Zhang Tianyi was thousands of miles away. Zhang Tianyi couldn't do anything. Yi Fengmiao's mind suddenly cleared up. He had to save himself now. His grandmaster couldn't save him anymore. If he couldn't save himself, then he would be dead. Thoughts spun in Yi Fengmiao's mind. Possibilities popped up in his mind one after another. But he eliminated them one by one. Finally, he thought of an idea. Sky Demon Disintegration Technique. Yi Fengmiao roared. Immediately after, Yi Fengmiao's aura surged. Just then, Chen Zhao felt a boundless pressure coming toward him. In that instant, Chen Zhao was furious. What a terrifying power! But the next moment, Chen Zhao woke up. What the hell? This wasn't a power strong enough to scare Chen Zhao. It was basically a type of spiritual magic. And this was not some sky demon disintegration technique. Yi Fengmiao shouted like that to scare Chen Zhao. The great demonic disintegration technique was a desperate technique. Exchanging life force for power, the effect could range from several times to dozens of times. However, even if Yi Fengmiao's power had increased by dozens of times, he wouldn't be scared by Chen Zhao. In reality, what Yi Fengmiao had just used was the Shining Dragon technique of the Ecliptic Tao. The name of the Candle Dragon's skill sounded very powerful. In fact, the Candle Dragon's skill had no offensive effect at all. The Candle Dragon's skill was to give the enemy a deceptive illusion. To put it bluntly, it was mental magic. It made one think that they were facing an illumination dragon and not a human. And Yi Fengmiao's strategy worked. He really scared Chen Zhao. However, this effect was too short-lived. Chen Zhao woke up almost instantly. Yi Fengmiao was surprised to see Chen Zhao wake up so quickly. The last person to wake up in such a short time was Zhang Tianyi. But this man couldn't be compared to his grandmaster. Chen Zhao's expression darkened. Because he really felt that it was quite embarrassing. He'd been tricked by an empty fort. I'm going to kill you. Chen Zhao gritted his teeth and stared at Yi Fengmiao. Yi Fengmiao didn't speak. After breaking free, he immediately cast a spell to escape. Earth escape. Yi Fengmiao's figure disappeared from the ground. Chen Zhao's eyes glowed. He could feel Yi Fengmiao's aura moving rapidly underground. Chen Zhao punched the ground with all his might. Rumble, with a loud sound, the ground within 100 meters collapsed and cracked. Yi Fengmiao had thought that he'd escaped. But he soon realized that he was in trouble. The ground had been shattered by Chen Zhao. There were cracks everywhere, making it impossible for him to continue using Earth Escape. Yi Fengmiao could only burrow out of the ground. He held a yellow talisman in his hand and scribbled in the air. The yellow talisman started burning. Spirit of the heavens, spirit of the earth, old Lord Taishang, show yourself. Lend me your body and aid me in my cultivation. Destroy my traitor and spread my virtue. Yi Fengmiao could only force himself to fight Chen Zhao. Zhang Tianyi was watching the battle between Chen Zhao and Yi Fengmiao. Chen Zhao wanted Zhang Tianyi to see how he was bullying his disciple. Seeing Yi Fengmiao use treasure-seeking 3 pure ones, Zhang Tianyi couldn't help but slap his forehead. Treasure-seeking 3 pure ones was a superior grade spell. In Taoism, the 3 pure ones referred to the 3 supreme gods. In the eyes of cultivators, the 3 pure ones referred to 3 types of qi. In ancient times, it was written as qi. The 3 qi were Tai Qing, Yu Qing, and Shang Qing. It was referring to the innate qi, chaotic qi, and nature qi. As for the many Taoist spells, they seem to be related to the gods, but in fact, they borrowed the power of nature. For example, Yifeng Miao's treasure-seeking 3 pure ones. Basically, it was using connate qi from Tai Qing. Humans had connate qi, so did the world. If it had been an ordinary opponent, this spell would have been just right. But now, his opponent was Qin Zhao. This was not an enemy that a normal spell like treasure-seeking 3 pure ones could turn around. In Zhang Tiany's opinion, Yifeng Miao needed a more radical spell. He might not be able to defeat Qin Zhao, but he had a higher chance of protecting himself. Yifeng Miao borrowed the connate qi from Tai Qing and spat it at Qin Zhao. True Samadhi Fire. Qin Zhao was really shocked when he heard the name True Samadhi Fire. He didn't dare to take Yifeng Miao's fire head-on. However, Qin Zhao had an absolute advantage in speed. He circled to Yifeng Miao's back in the blink of an eye and kicked his butt. Piss off. Yifeng Miao fell to the ground in a sorry state. The kick was neither light nor heavy, but he couldn't even straighten his back. You bastard, Yifeng Miao cursed. I'm a bastard? You've never seen me more of a bastard. With a flash, Qin Zhao appeared before Yifeng Miao again and gave him a big slap. Ah! Yifeng Miao covered his face and took 2 steps back. Hand it over, or I'll let you die in a foreign land. Chapter 2015. Qin Zhao suddenly felt that dying in a foreign land wasn't cruel enough. Do you know what American prisons are like? Qin Zhao didn't even need to say anything. Yifeng Miao had already started imagining things. Yifeng Miao's treasure-seeking 3 was very ineffective. It was just as Zhang Tiany had predicted. The treasure-seeking 3 pure ones were not suitable to deal with an enemy like Qin Zhao. Seeking treasures from the 3 pure ones was to borrow Xiantian qi, chaotic qi, and nature qi. And the biggest use of borrowing these 3 was to make his own spells sharper and release some spells that he couldn't release in the past. However, Qin Zhao didn't want to compete with Yifeng Miao in spells. If it was just spells, Yifeng Miao was much better than Qin Zhao. But they weren't competing in spells now. They were competing in combat power. Qin Zhao's combat power was much better than Yifeng Miao's. Yifeng Miao couldn't even hit Qin Zhao. No, more accurately, Yifeng Miao couldn't even release a complete spell. Qin Zhao didn't give him any time or chance. It was like a fighter and a gunman. The gunman had to take out his gun first and then load it. But the fighter wouldn't give him the chance. Of course, Qin Zhao didn't plan on killing him. So, he knew when to stop. This was on the premise that Yifeng Miao wouldn't die. Other than that, there were no other restrictions. Yifeng Miao was also stubborn. He'd been beaten into a pig's head by Qin Zhao. But he still wouldn't take it out and wouldn't lower his head to Qin Zhao. It looked like he was already half dead. Qin Zhao didn't stop. He continued beating Yifeng Miao. Just then, Zhang Tiany yelled in the video, "Enough, stop. Yi, give him the thing." Grandmaster. I can't, the thing is important, but not as important as you, Zhang Tiany said seriously. Qin Zhao pouted. This old guy was using his favor to improve his relationship with his disciple. What a jerk. He was the one who told Qin Zhao to beat up his disciple. Yet, he still pretended to care about his junior. What a detestable face. Seeing Zhang Tiany's pitiful expression, Qin Zhao really wanted to beat him up. Yifeng Miao still didn't want to admit defeat. It wasn't about the thing anymore. His stubbornness and his pride did not allow him to admit defeat. Yifeng Miao felt a lump in his chest. Yi Fengmiao's breathing quickened. The aura on his body also became stronger and stronger. Zhang Tianyi raised his eyebrows. Breakthrough? He broke through just like that. Zhang Tianyi really didn't expect this. He had originally thought that after this setback, Yi Fengmiao would need to return to the mountain to settle down before he could make a breakthrough. He didn't expect Yi Fengmiao to break through so quickly. Yi Fengmiao also felt that he was different. His magic power was increasing at an alarming rate. I won't admit defeat, I will never admit defeat. Yi Fengmiao suddenly roared hysterically. His eyes were bloodshot, and the aura on his body was multiplying. I did not lose. Yi Fengmiao wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and took out a yellow talisman. Again. It's almost time for my meal. I don't have time to waste with you. Can't you just hand it over? Chen Zhao was getting impatient. Chen Zhao charged forward, grabbed Yi Fengmiao's wrist, and lifted her up. One of Yi Fengmiao's hands was in the air, but he was unprecedentedly confident. His other hand didn't stop casting spells. He even let Chen Zhao grab his arm on purpose. His left hand was already waiting for Chen Zhao with a huge gift. The sky seemed to darken especially early today. The sun hadn't completely set just now. But now, the sky suddenly darkened. Ecliptic Miazong. Yi Fengmiao's palm suddenly slapped Chen Zhao's face. A giant covered in talismans appeared behind Yi Fengmiao. The giant was called Miazong, a god in the ecliptic system. From Earth, the trajectory of the sun in the sky, the path that the sun took was called the ecliptic. After the sun set, Miazong would drag it to the end of the sea. One day, when the sun no longer rose, it would be the day Miazong completely destroyed the sun. Thus, the giant Miazong was also a symbol of destruction. Miazong's palm slapped toward Chen Zhao. The moment Chen Zhao was hit, a huge impact occurred. Miazong's attacks were also filled with destructive power. Every time he attacked, there would be a violent explosion. Yi Fengmiao didn't think that Chen Zhao could beat him now. He had successfully summoned the giant Zhongmie. This spell was the most powerful spell in the ecliptic path. In fact, Yi Fengmiao believed that there was no spell more powerful than the ecliptic annihilation spell. Chen Zhao was thrown into the air by the attack. Boom boom boom, giant Zhongmie attacked Chen Zhao 3 more times in the air. Chen Zhao fell to the ground. Yi Fengmiao was delighted to see Chen Zhao in such a sorry state. Because now, the situation had been completely reversed. Right now, he was the one in charge of life and death. Chen Zhao stood up slowly. Yi Fengmiao was not in a hurry to attack. Instead, he looked down at Chen Zhao. Is there anything else you want to say now? Chen Zhao tore off his tattered jacket. I'm sick of it. This game isn't fun. Chen Zhao looked at the phone he'd snatched from Yi Fengmiao and crushed it. Zhang Tianyi, who was on Mount Longhu, felt his heart skip a beat. He cursed inwardly. Don't go overboard. Zhang Tianyi quickly called Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao glanced at his phone and turned it off. Let's talk one last time. Give me the item and I'll leave. Beat me first, Yi Fengmiao said proudly. To him, Chen Zhao was already at the end of his rope. He had no other choice. Just like in the past, his opponents would fall before him one by one. Chen Zhao took a deep breath and looked at Yi Fengmiao and the giant behind him. Do you really think you can beat me with this? The truth is obvious. I've won. Yi Fengmiao looked at Chen Zhao proudly. Fine, if you think so, let's begin. Chen Zhao shrugged. Mia, kill him. Yi Fengmiao didn't plan to show mercy this time. He felt that Chen Zhao wanted to kill him, so it was reasonable for him to kill Chen Zhao. But Chen Zhao had disappeared. Did he run? Yi Fengmiao was surprised. Chen Zhao had run too fast. This disappointed him. He'd wanted to see how strong Mia was. He didn't think that the arrogant Chen Zhao would be so cowardly. But Yi Fengmiao didn't see how Chen Zhao had escaped. However, giant Mie Zong kept looking up at the sky. Chapter 2016. What was he looking at? Giant Zong Mia shouldn't be conscious. Yi Fengmiao was confused. He also looked up at the sky. Most of Yi Fengmiao's spells were of the ecliptic branch. But that didn't mean he believed in the ecliptic. He knew very well that giant Zong Mia wasn't a real god. He wasn't an ancient god that had existed in history. He had never truly existed. But that didn't stop him from being powerful. Yi Fengmiao suddenly saw something in the night sky. It seemed to be a star, or a shooting star. It was dragging a flaming tail. That thing seemed to be falling toward him. Yi Fengmiao tilted his head and watched for a minute. Gradually, he felt that something was wrong. That thing really seemed to be falling toward him. Yi Fengmiao didn't have time to prepare. The falling speed of that thing was simply too fast. When that thing came close, Yi Fengmiao finally saw what it was. It was Chen Zhao. Yi Fengmiao was completely confused. How did Chen Zhao fall from such a high place? How did he appear so high in the sky in the blink of an eye? Boom! Falling from the sky, Chen Zhao smashed into giant Zong Mie. There was a loud bang, accompanied by a destructive shockwave. Yi Fengmiao was sent flying. Giant Zong Mie took the direct hit from the shooting star. His body pierced hundreds of meters through the forest and then lay on the ground, dead. There was a hole in his chest. His body was gradually dissipating, returning to the world. Yi Fengmiao's head was bleeding. He stood up with difficulty. He looked very wretched. His arms, body, and face were covered in dirt and blood. Chen Zhao looked at the forest that giant Zong Mia had swept through. There was a shocking burn mark on the ground. Chen Zhao stood where giant Zong Mia had disappeared and looked at Yi Fengmiao, who was staggering over. Have you heard of a palm technique that falls from the sky? Madman. He was a madman. This was like a person jumping down from the 30th floor in order to kill his enemy, wanting to smash his enemy to death. But Chen Zhao had succeeded, and he was completely unharmed. Yi Fengmiao didn't know what to say. Yi Fengmiao calculated how much power he had left. Could he summon the giant destroyer again? Do you think I'll let you summon that ugly thing again? Chen Zhao grinned. Yi Fengmiao took a deep breath, his eyes still filled with stubbornness. If you dare to resist again, trust me. I will definitely crush your balls. The stubborn Yi Fengmiao finally gave in. Any man would have given in to such a threat. Yi Fengmiao took out a box. However, he hesitated whether he should throw it to Chen Zhao. After all, if Chen Zhao went back on his word after getting the item, there was nothing he could do. Yi Fengmiao looked at Chen Zhao with sparkling eyes. Don't worry. I'll definitely keep my promise. Chen Zhao smiled sincerely. Yi Fengmiao took a deep breath and finally threw the box to Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao opened the box. It was indeed an elemental fruit. I've given you the item. Can I go now? No. Chen Zhao suddenly smiled evilly. You want to break your promise? No, I'm not breaking my promise. Chen Zhao waved his finger. My previous condition was that you take this out and I won't make things difficult for you, but it's different now. I only promised that I won't crush your balls. You *shoal. Ah, when Chen Zhao walked out of the forest, he finally exhaled in relief. Old Zhang, it's done. I've already taught your grand disciple a good lesson. Chen Zhao, you *shoal, Zhang Tianyi cursed. If anything happens to my grand disciple, I won't let you off. I'm asking about your ancestor. Why are you cursing me? You told me to do this. Do you believe that I won't go back and kill your grand disciple? Don't be like this. I'm old. I can't control my emotions. Fuck, seeing your face, I really should kill your grand disciple. How is he now? I ripped off all his hair, broke his hands, crushed his shoulder blades, broke 3 of his ribs, and crushed his left knee plate. You're too cruel. What's a small injury to you? Don't tell me you can't heal him. Zhang Tianyi somewhat regretted asking Chen Zhao for help. Chen Zhao really did as he asked. As long as he couldn't die, he would beat him to death. I can understand you hurting him, but why did you rip off all his hair? Do you know that women aren't the only ones who are jealous? Men have it too, Chen Zhao said honestly. Yes, Chen Zhao was jealous of his handsomeness. Such a handsome man should be punished by justice. I agree. Zhang Tianyi suddenly changed his stance. You're even jealous of your grand disciple. Any man who's more handsome than me is my enemy. I don't care if he's my grand disciple or not. You're so bad, old man. You might not believe it, but he's still a virgin. How is that possible? With his looks, even I'd believe it if you said that his pursuers are stronger, unless he's impotent. But when I fought him just now, I felt that he was full of energy. It doesn't look like he's impotent. Plus, his actions are normal. He doesn't look gay. When he entered the sect, I told him that he can't get close to women before mastering his martial art. Otherwise, he'll die suddenly. Really? Of course not. I've never heard of any martial art that requires virgins to practice. Don't they say that you have to maintain your virginity? That's in wuxia novels. You actually believe that? I suddenly feel so happy, Chen Zhao said, taking pleasure in Zhang Tianyi's misfortune. You haven't seen this brat. The female outer sect disciples of Mount Longhu are throwing flirtatious glances at him all day long, but he's been suppressing it all day long. At night, he's secretly having sex. He thinks no one knows, haha, fuck, you're too dirty. You're the king of filth. Peeking at your grand disciple shooting. If this guy knows what you've done, he'll definitely be corrupted. Chen Zhao was completely impressed by the old man's bad taste. It's because he's so handsome. Tell me the truth. Did you really ask me to beat him up to train his mind? Or are you just jealous of his handsomeness? Don't doubt my professionalism. I'm a professional as a grandmaster. Zhang. Chen Zhao suddenly changed his tone. What? I recorded everything you said just now. Chapter 2017. When Chen Zhao left the mountain, he saw the figure of a giant dragon. The aura was familiar. It seemed to be Xiao Longnu. Oh, her real name was Akra Buman. However, Chen Zhao really couldn't remember her real name. It was easier to remember Xiao Longnu. Xiao Longnu didn't notice Chen Zhao's gaze. She flew through the sky in her original form. Then, he called Zhang Tianyi. Old Zhang, did you call Xiao Longnu? I told her to collect Yi Fengmiao's corpse. Zhang Tianyi's vicious mouth was always harsh. Speaking of which, if there are giant dragons in the west, are there dragons in the east? Chen Zhao was curious. Yes, and no. You're playing with the stream of consciousness again. Just tell me directly. Yes or no? Just as you think, there are no dragons like the giant dragon clan. I really don't like talking to you. If you don't like talking to me, then why are you calling me? If I don't call you, then I'll call your disciple. Fine, fine. How can you be like this? How can you bully a junior? What right do you have to criticize me? Who gave you the confidence? Do you want me to tell you or not? Fine, tell me. The dragons in China are divine beasts. They're formed from the qi in the rivers and the essence of the world. Then those flood dragons, scaled dragons, and carps jumping over the dragon gate aren't real dragons. Flood dragons can really turn into dragons, but they have to become the river god of a river first. For example, the flood dragon you killed last time. After becoming a river god, it kept merging with the water chi and shed its acquired body, finally turning into a divine dragon. As for other scaled dragons, there really aren't any. The possibility of carps jumping over the dragon gate is even smaller. How can they turn into dragons after jumping? They don't even taste good. What if the carp becomes a spirit and becomes a river god? How can there be so many ifs? There will always be a few mutants in this world, and there will always be exceptions. However, exceptions are exceptions. If one group succeeds, it doesn't mean that the entire group will definitely succeed. For example, you are so awesome right now, but you said that all humans are like you. Is that possible? Zhang Tianyi said disapprovingly. There are also familiar mythological beasts such as Phoenix and Kylin. They are all born from the essence of heaven and earth. For example, Phoenix is born from the light of the sun shining on the earth, so Phoenix is also called the royal bird. Kylin is born from the essence of the mountain spirit, so Kylin is the king of all beasts. So you're saying that the legends about those mythological beasts are basically fake? Most of them are fake. Of course, some myths were modified to be more in line with the understanding and knowledge of mortals. After hundreds or thousands of years of evolution, they finally became the myths that we know now. Then what about those ancient beasts in the legends? For example, the dragon giving birth to 9 sons is also fake. So these mythological beasts can't be killed, right? They're not completely unkillable. Wait. Qin Zhao, don't be rash. Mythological beasts may not be the strongest, but they represent the supreme will. When you see them, you should kowtow to them first. Don't always think about fighting and killing. Have you ever kowtowed to a mythological beast? Yes. When I was at the peak of my luck, I saw the master of the Great Swamp, the mythological beast Bai Zhe. Zhang Tianyi was not embarrassed at all when talking about his shameless past. He even sounded proud of himself. Did you get anything in return? Of course, but the condition is that you have to make him feel good. Things are different now. Back then, I could flatter him all sorts of things. Now that I'm arrogant, I can't lower myself. You can't, but I can. Introduce that mythological beast Bai Zhe to me. What's the point of introducing you? I can't even find him. Didn't you say that he's the master of the Great Swamp? Go to the Great Swamp and find him. The Great Swamp is a legendary place. Do you think it's your backyard? People without great luck won't be able to find it. By the way, what happens if I kill a mythological beast? That's a great cause and effect. For example, the divine beast Bai Zhe. He's formed from the wind and clouds, and he also symbolizes auspiciousness and longevity. At the same time, he also has the ability to bless his descendants. But if you kill him, you'll end your line of descendants. This isn't a curse, but it's cause and effect. Qin Zhao shivered. Does the benefit you get have something to do with what he symbolizes? I've been blessed with the health and safety of my descendants, Zhang Tianyi said seriously. Huh? Qin Zhao was intrigued. This was good stuff. Then what do dragons, phoenixes, and qilins symbolize? I don't know, but they have an auspicious side and a dark side. So, don't kill a mythological beast presumptuously. What you gain might not be as good as what you lose. Will the Western dragons be fine? I've killed quite a few dragons. It's fine. As long as you think you can even wipe them out. You old thing, stop egging me on, Qin Zhao cursed. But the next moment, he changed his tone. Is it possible to create mythological beasts artificially? It's possible when you reach a certain level, but it'll be meaningless by then, Zhang Tianyi said. For example, you're so rich now. If you think about asking for this and that, you've already surpassed the level of what you used to dream about. I feel like I'm pretty awesome now. Can't I do it now? No, I'm still far from it. Then forget it. Chen Zhao wasn't too surprised by Zhang Tiany's answer. When he got home, he already missed dinner. Of course, he still kept his portion. After dinner, Chen Zhao called Princess over. Princess, look at this. Princess's IQ was about the same as a 10-year-old. But with her knowledge, she was still confused about elemental fruits. Princess reached out with her paw to take the fruit. To it, since Chen Zhao had placed the elemental fruit in front of it, it must be for it to eat. Chen Zhao didn't stop her. He watched as Princess stuffed the fruit into her mouth. The fruit was the size of a fist, but before Princess, who was the size of a small truck, it was nothing. Princess, do you feel anything? Princess sat on the ground and rubbed her stomach. Then she looked at Chen Zhao in confusion. Had she not digested it yet? Chen Zhao was confused. Princess didn't change at all. Chen Zhao waited for a while and asked, still nothing. Chapter 2018. Was it fake? Or did something happen, but Princess didn't feel it? Chen Zhao started to think about it again. But on second thought, when Princess obtained the power to tear the earth, she knew how to use it directly. It was like instinct. If there was some change this time, she should notice and understand it directly. Whatever, if there was no change, then there was no change. Chen Zhao was still a little disappointed. Of course, he wasn't disappointed in Princess. Fei Lai, I'm going to cultivate. I'll be back later, Chen Zhao said to Fei Lai, who was playing with the children in the living room. Don't shoot down the government plane again. Last time, Chen Zhao had shot down an Air Force plane. It was reported on the news the next day, but the military explained that there was a mistake during training, which caused the plane to crash. Chen Zhao and Fei Lai had been watching the news and happened to see the news. Chen Zhao had said casually, "Isn't that the plane I shot down last night?" Then Fei Lai knew what Chen Zhao had done. "Chen, if you really want to shoot it down, bring the wreckage back. Then fix the shell and put it in the yard for the children to play with." Chen Zhao patted Princess' head beside him. He appeared half a meter away instantly. But at that moment, Princess actually appeared beside him. Chen Zhao was stunned. The moment Princess appeared, her huge body fell down. The princess was waving her limbs and howling non-stop. Chen Zhao hurriedly pulled her back. "Princess, why are you here?" Chen Zhao put Princess back on the ground. He looked at Princess in confusion. With his speed, even if Princess could really fly, she couldn't catch up to him, right? Unless... Chen Zhao looked at the princess again. Unless she could teleport. Chen Zhao took out a ball and tossed it in his hand. "Princess, catch." With that, he tossed the ball over the cliff. Princess wasn't a dog, but her personality was similar to one. She also liked to play with her family. The princess moved again and instantly disappeared from where she was standing. The next moment, she appeared in the air, opening her mouth to catch the ball. However, it had miscalculated, and the ball still flew out of its bite range. Roar! Princess fell from the sky, roaring. Chen Zhao caught Princess again. Although teleportation had brought miraculous things to the princess, it had also put her in danger. It still couldn't control this ability well. Once it teleported into the air and didn't use it continuously, it would directly fall from the sky and bring about great damage. "Princess, can you jump continuously?" Princess tilted her head and looked at Chen Zhao, as if he found it hard to understand. Chen Zhao scratched his head. How should he explain this? Chen Zhao thought for a moment. His body flashed and he appeared dozens of meters away as fast as he could. "Come, princess." Princess also flashed and appeared beside Chen Zhao. But this time, he didn't go to pick up the princess. Instead, he flashed again and appeared dozens of meters away. Looking at the falling princess, he called out, "Come, princess, come here." In her panic, the princess flashed again and appeared beside Qin Zhao. Good job. Continue. Qin Zhao still didn't pick up princess. He kept moving forward. The princess began to get used to the process and rhythm. About 10 minutes later, the princess had already teleported 200 times. She was starting to get tired. Qin Zhao could clearly feel her exhaustion. It seemed that she couldn't teleport infinitely. Princess returned to the ground and started to recover quickly. Qin Zhao realized that she could absorb large amounts of spiritual qi from the ground. Soon, she recovered her energy. After familiarizing herself with her ability, she started to enjoy it. She was very excited. Although the ability couldn't be used for long-distance travel, it was enough for Princess. At least, she really liked this new ability. Just then, Zhang Tianyi called again. Qin Zhao felt that Zhang Tianyi was just bored and called to argue with him. First, he said that Qin Zhao was too ruthless and that his disciple couldn't get out of bed for a year. Qin Zhao didn't believe it. He was a doctor. He knew how to make people lie in bed without losing half their bodies. To put it bluntly, Zhang Tianyi just wanted to get some benefits from Qin Zhao. Qin Zhao wouldn't go along with Zhang Tianyi. Qin Zhao still wanted to get some benefits from him. Just as Qin Zhao finished chatting with Zhang Tianyi, another call came from an unknown number. Hello, are you Mr. Qin? I am. Who is this? Why can't I get through to you? It's busy. Sorry, I was talking to a friend. May I know who you are? I was introduced by Mr. Lila Gavich. He said you're looking for a witch. Huh? Qin Zhao immediately answered. You know why I'm looking for a witch, right? I know. You're looking for Treasure Island, right? Since you know, can you take me to Treasure Island? Qin Zhao asked back. Do you know what price I have to pay to find it? The witch on the other end asked. I don't know. Tell me your conditions. It's fine as long as they're suitable. In history, a total of 3 witches led the way for pirates or adventurers. They found the legendary Treasure Island, and they all lost their lives. After a moment of silence, Qin Zhao said, So, do you reject or accept? I need a piece of demonic gold, an extremely powerful evil spirit, a gray eye, and $10 million. I don't have a problem with the $10 million you want, but your first 3 conditions put me in a difficult position. Is there demon gold in this world? Also, the extremely powerful evil spirit that you mentioned, what kind of powerful is it? And the gray eye, what's that? Actually, Qin Zhao had demonic gold. To Qin Zhao, demonic gold was the most useless thing. At the very least, Qin Zhao could go to hell and get as much as he wanted. The second condition was an extremely powerful evil spirit. This was a very general explanation. What did extremely powerful mean? Was it extremely powerful in the eyes of this witch or in his eyes? Moreover, what Qin Zhao didn't understand the most was the gray eye. He'd never heard of it before. Demonic gold exists in this world. As for how you get it, that's your problem. The extremely powerful evil spirit I mentioned has to be at least a disaster level. Chapter 2019. What's the disaster level? Qin Zhao often heard people call it a disaster level. However, there wasn't an exact number for it. It was just a concept. Qin Zhao had even killed a guy who called himself a disaster level. In reality, although the guy was bad, he was far from a disaster level. He was only slightly stronger than militants and his targets were mostly ordinary people. People like that definitely couldn't reach the true disaster level. Plus, he had to be an evil spirit. Where could Qin Zhao find a disaster level evil spirit? Pamela was a banshee now, so she should be one. But Qin Zhao couldn't hand Pamela over, right? There are 3 in China, Mount Tai Ghost King, Mount Mang Ghost King, and Tiandu Ghost King. There are 2 in Europe, princess spirit and nether wanderer. Africa has a cursed spirit. It's the only known disaster-level evil spirit in the world, the witch said. The witch said, you just have to destroy any one of these and then use the soul container to collect their soul fragments. The witch paused and said, there is also the ashen eye. Among ordinary humans, there is a kind of eye that can see ghosts. It is called the yin-yang eye. On the contrary, there is the ashen eye. Some souls that wander the world can see things called shadow monsters. This kind of soul has the ashen eye. Your requests are getting more and more ridiculous, Chen Zhao said gloomily. The first and fourth requests were a piece of cake for him. If Chen Zhao needed demon gold, he could use it to build a castle. Chen Zhao's money was almost enough for him to build a house. However, the second and third requests were really making things difficult for him. Madam, I can pay you more and remove those difficult conditions. How about that? Mr. Chen, you have to understand that the price I have to pay to help you find the treasure island is my life. Compared to my life, I don't think my request is too much. After saying that, the witch hung up the phone. Buddhist duo, are you looking for help again? I'm done, but I don't have much hope. Buddha duo looked at his sister who had just entered the room. Azinduo, how's the investigation going? The 3 ghost kings of Huaxia are impossible. Not only do the 3 ghost kings possess terrifying power, but they also have an army of evil spirits. Their territory is the land of the dead. The living have to take great risks to even enter their territory, let alone kill them. Moreover, they have certain connections with the Huaxia government and the Huaxia supernatural world. If we attack them, it will be no different from suicide. Jacinder's face was extremely gloomy. Obviously, this was not an outcome that they could accept. What about the soul of the European princess and the wanderer of the netherworld? Is it possible? The princess's spirit has always been regarded as the holy spirit of the royal family. To harm the princess's spirit, one must first face the British government and the royal family. The difficulty is not much lower than the 3 ghost kings of Huaxia. Azinduo shook her head. As for the wanderer of the nether, it is said that no one has ever been able to find him. He will only appear when he wishes to appear in front of others. Then, when he appeared, were there any signs? Or a pattern? There are no patterns or signs at all. He seems to appear at random. What about the one in Africa? Is it possible? The situation in Africa is very complicated right now. Various unnatural forces and the Nature Guardian Alliance are fighting, but the spirit of Juan has never appeared. There are even some rumors in the cult that it leads. It's hard to tell whether it's true or not. Azinduo looked at her sister. There are many Buddhists. Even if we can find any one of them, even if we have divine gear, it will be very difficult. I think we should find outsiders. I'm also looking, but the few people I contacted, after I explained my request, almost all of them called me a lunatic. Although the one I contacted just now didn't call me a lunatic, he also responded with a very shocked attitude. Africa? Chen Zhao pondered. Chen Zhao remembered that when West reported to him 2 days ago, he had said that they were going to deal with the spirit of Juan. Just then, Fei Lai said, Chen, I'm going to sleep. Aren't you going to cultivate today? You go first. I'll make a call first. Chen Zhao called West. West, did anything happen today? We found the spirit of Juan's nest. We've been preparing for the past 2 days. Tomorrow, we plan to sneak into the nest and end this war. Oh, do you need my help? No, we can do it. Okay. Be careful. Chen Zhao's mind raced. The spirit of Juan. The spirit of Juan that West wanted to deal with matched the witch's description. However, Chen Zhao didn't ask too much in case West became suspicious. If he didn't ask, he wouldn't know where the nest was. It seemed that he should find some time to go to Africa. When Chen Zhao returned to his room, Fei Lai had already changed into her new clothes. Chen Zhao felt all the blood in his body expand. He went up and rubbed Fei Lai. Don't change. You have to take it off anyway. Chen Zhao and Fei Lai always liked to play with different styles. It helped stabilize and maintain their relationship. In Fei Lai's cloakroom, there was a compartment for all kinds of sexy clothes. Chen Zhao liked this kind of game and never got tired of it. Sometimes, they could play for an entire night. Chen Zhao's hand groped around naughtily. What are you acting today? I'm the judge. You're my prisoner. Chen Zhao, I want to play your game too. I think you humans call this role-playing. Belial's voice always appeared at inappropriate times. However, everyone got used to it. Chen Zhao was no exception. Now, Chen Zhao was used to playing with Fei Lai while communicating with Belial in his mind. Of course, most of their interactions were bare-chested. My queen, I want to ask you something. Chen Zhao was exercising with all his might. What do you want to ask? Do you know about the gray eye? Yes. Tell me. Satisfy me first. I don't like to talk about other things when I'm doing business. Chen Zhao was speechless. Are you confusing business with other people's business? Chapter 2020. You can tell me now, right? Chen Zhao had spent a lot of effort to feed Belial. Gray eyes is actually a type of demon bloodline, but people with this bloodline are usually hidden. Only after death and the soul leaves the body will the power of the bloodline appear. Demon? But I heard that people with gray eyes can see shadow monsters. What's going on? Do you know the meaning of gray eyes' existence? Belial asked. I don't. What's the meaning of gray eyes' existence? Existence was existence. What meaning was there? Did you have to say that existence was reasonable? If it was according to this point of view, it would be impossible to make sense of anything. The true master of the Ashen Eyes is a demon called Desolation. Desolation is a demon created by the Demon King, the King of Gluttony. Then they should be subordinates of the King of Gluttony? No, the King of Gluttony created them to eat, Yizichin said. Eat? You mean the King of Gluttony wants to eat them? No. Belial shook his head. Belial shook his head. In hell, the most famous gourmet would be the King of Gluttony, Beelzebub. He's eaten everything, including a secondary demon king. Chen Zhao's face twitched. He glanced at Belial. Do you call that a gourmet? Don't get caught up in my description, Belial said coolly. But that's just Beelzebub's personality. To him, there's nothing he can't eat. But one day, one of his subordinates told him that there's something he hasn't eaten before. Chen Zhao looked up at Belial. Clearly, the main point was coming. That demon subordinate of Beelzebub accidentally entered an alternate dimension and devoured some of the creatures there, Belial said calmly. Belia said calmly, then Beelzebub remembered it. He tried to find that alternate space, but to no avail. Later, he thought of a way. Based on that subordinate demon's description, he created the Withered Tribe. The Withered Tribe has the ability to lock onto that alternate space. Then, Beelzebub successfully found that alternate space through the Withered Tribe's ability. And then, Beelzebub swallowed half of the alternate dimension. Half of the shadow monster you were talking about also died. Beelzebub swallowed them all. Chen Zhao shuddered. The King of Hell was unimaginably scary. To create a race for food. And in order to eat, it directly devoured half of the space. How big is that alternate dimension? Probably a few times bigger than the human world. Chen Zhao's jaw dropped. It was several times bigger than the human world, but Beelzebub had swallowed half of it. Just how big was the King of Gluttony? Of course it's not that exaggerated. Although it's big, it's not as big as you think it is. However, this is its ability. If it thinks it's necessary, it can swallow the entire alternate dimension. The reason why it didn't do that is because it thinks that the shadow monsters in the alternate dimension taste good. It hopes that they can restore their numbers and eat them again. How much time did he spend? About 1,000 years ago. Chen Zhao didn't dare to imagine if this guy set his eyes on Earth and humans. Would he do the same thing? For a bite of food, he worked hard for 1,000 years and even created a race. Chen Zhao didn't know that he wasn't a gourmet, but he definitely deserved the title of top foodie. Are you thinking that Beelzebub will target humans? I can't help but worry, especially after hearing your story. The mortal world is the main world. The laws of the world are very complete. It's impossible for Beelzebub to go over. Plus, humans aren't rare. At least for us demons, there will always be humans who believe in us who will sacrifice their own kind to us. So, to us, it's not too difficult to eat humans whenever we want. Isn't it inappropriate to talk about eating humans in front of humans? You're the one who wanted to talk about this. Fine, let's change the topic. Don't you want to know the follow-up story? There's a follow-up story. More accurately, it's not a story, Belia said. Beelzebub created the desolation with humans as the blueprint, so the desolation is very similar to humans in all aspects. As a promise with the King of Gluttony, the desolation returned to the human world as it wished. The King of Gluttony's conditions were also very clear. He could let them return to the human world, but the next time he wanted to eat them, the desolation would still have to sacrifice its power. However, the remaining shadow monsters from the alternate space hated the desolation because of the King of Gluttony. It's an unforgettable hatred. Shouldn't the person they should hate the most be the King of Gluttony? They also hate, but what can they do against the King of Gluttony? They can't do anything. No matter how angry they are, they can't affect the King of Gluttony at all. The King of Gluttony's power is not something they can resist, so they can only target their hatred on the desolation race. Belia paused before continuing, although Beelzebub is the demon king of hell, he's still very trustworthy. He used a lot of effort to send the desolation race back to the human world, but when they returned, they found themselves facing the revenge of the shadow monsters. A large number of the desolation race were slaughtered. This is karma for attracting the king of hell. However, the shadow monsters are creatures from the alternate space after all, so the desolation race was able to breathe in the end. They were not completely wiped out. After that, they mixed their blood with humans to continue the desolation race's legacy. The shadow monsters never gave up on killing the descendants of the desolation race. They seem to be able to lock onto the descendants of the desolation race, then trick them into the alternate space and kill them. Speaking of which, after Beelzebub heard this news, he was very regretful. He shouldn't have sent the desolation race to the human world. However, he could send the desolation race to the human world, but he could not bring them back to hell. He did not even have the ability to protect them. But if the King of Gluttony can create one desolation race, he can create a second one, right? There doesn't seem to be much meaning for the shadow monsters to hunt down the descendants of the desolation race. As long as Beelzebub, the King of Gluttony, still exists, the shadow monsters will never be able to escape the tragic fate of being shrouded by the demon king of hell. You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.